Okay. Alrighty. So welcome to the second podcast on this channel. Gonna be honest, wasn't really planning on doing future episodes, but I thought it'd be fun to definitely do one after the beta. So here we are. We're gonna be talking about our thoughts on the beta. Anything from the OST to how our characters feel, from the netcode. We're gonna bounce around to all those topics. I've got the same lovely cast members here with me as last time. So it'll be a nice comparison between what we talked about pre-beta and how we kind of thought things would play out, uh, compared to after getting some good amount of time to actually play the game outside of the Evo and Paris demos. So here we are. We're gonna go around, introduce ourselves. We'll go left to right, starting with Defiant. He can say his name, which characters he played in the beta, and whether or not he likes mint ice cream.
Hello, my name is Defiant, and the characters I played in the beta were Hyde, Lond, Eltnum, Mika, and I think that's it. And I fucking hate mint ice cream, man. If you eat that, you're a
Oh,
terrible human being. I'm gonna say
oh
it.
my god.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Foxov. I mostly played Landrekia in the beta. I played a bit of Batista, like maybe 20 games or so. Um, and I love mint ice cream. I love it. You can't stop me, bro. All right, pass me on.
Alright, I'm Garfield. I played some Mika, some Hyde, some Phonon very briefly. Didn't have too long with the beta. And mint ice cream is like my second favorite ice cream flavor. It's quite good. But black sesame is kind of the goat.
Mm.
Black sesame?
Oh yeah, Asian flavor.
Yeah, I have to try that.
I am Lid. I played mostly Lene and some Gordeau in the beta, and then dabbled with Tsurugi and Kaguya. And I'll leave the mint flavor for the gum. Not really the mint ice cream.
Oh my gosh, what a coward. I'm Papa Pesto. I played Carmine and Aurier in the beta, and I like mint ice cream. It's pretty good. I'm a big fan.
Alrighty. So the first thing I kind of want to touch on, we're not gonna get super deep into it just yet. Kind of just want to talk about how we feel about the beta. Talk about some UI stuff, or maybe the music, character voices. How your experience with the netcode. Just kind of in general. So you
All right. Well, I wanna at least guarantee start us out on a positive note. So like, let's start by talking about the game soundtrack. It's so good.
Yeah, a lot of the remixes are fantastic.
Oh yeah.
All mostly buffs. I can think of only one nerf, I think.
What's the nerf?
I didn't like the Linne like MIDI piano solo that they threw in the middle. Kind of felt a bit out of
Yeah.
place.
I think the clear and previous version is like already pretty peak. I don't think it really
Yeah.
needed an upgrade. But then at the same time, like Landrekia theme was already peak, and they somehow made it even better. So who knows?
Yeah, I think, I mean, ultimately the takeaway is that uh, like Raito was saying in his blog, he was given direction to like actually explore the themes more, like do B sections instead of doing like 2 minutes and then repeating it, you know?
Mhm.
And I feel like no matter how you feel about it, it's that you're getting that track, but then you're getting more of whatever next thing he envisions it to be.
Mm.
And that to me is so cool to like to be able to even like conceptually have the option to like one up yourself like that is like super sick to me.
Yeah, I think Merkava theme is another one that's very
Oh,
good.
Merkava theme changing the game, man. That's the golden theme.
Yeah, I really I liked pretty much all the remixes. The only one, the one I felt like it wasn't great was the Lene one, for the remix, but because like I kind of like the darker vibe of how it sounds and clear, and the B side addition. Kind of the solo kind of makes it feel a bit more I don't know, less dark, which I appreciated less. I don't know. I liked how dark and emotional it sounded in the previous version, but all in all, yeah, all the remixes are fantastic.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm feeling you on that because when I listen to Hyde's theme from Clear to Unisk, it's like thematically some of the like a lot of the themes have changed to like where the characters are at like right now. And like Hyde's theme in Unisk is like it's very like it feels like he's like getting real, like he's like stepping up to the plate as like the protagonist compared to before, which it's like kind of not, but it sounds more like the protagonist theme in Uni 2 than Uni Clear.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree 100%. Like by comparison, you listen to the older version of the track. The older version of the track sounds like a training montage, and then like you were saying, this version like actually sounds like, oh, he's actually him. Like he's there now.
Yeah, I'm personally like it's a hot take, but I am a Hyde theme hater. I do not like Hyde's theme in Clear. But I like the Uni 2 version. I think the Uni 2 version, I think they saved it, in my opinion. I know that's not a
No,
common
yeah,
opinion.
I was saying it nicer than you, but I'm basically in your same boat. Pretty much.
I really like it.
Yeah, I
Pretty good.
think another thing about the beta is probably the UI. I think a lot of people were kind of put off by the UI when they first revealed it at Evo. To be honest, for me, after playing the beta, it actually really grew on me. And I like it. The only thing I don't like is like the health bars from going from like yellow to orange. I kind of liked the green to yellow or the green to darker yellow, whatever it is in Clear.
Agreed.
But
Yeah, I feel like that's a step backwards for communicating clearly. Like it was a step forward for meter, like having that glowing part showing that you have 100 meter. That's super nice. But it's like you took that concept and took a step backwards with it for the health bar, you know?
yeah, I like that the meter is yellow. It's gray if you have no EX 100, or it's yellow if you have access to 100, and then fully blue if you have 200 meter. I like that.
Yeah. I think the meter change was fantastic. Because I always fall for the trap of trying to
Yeah,
reversal,
99 meter
99
reversal.
IW with 199 meter, the classics.
Or like if you shield something, you would like try to like green shield and then do a super, but like you use the meter for the shield, so you get that little extra visual reminder, like wait, no, don't do it.
Yeah. Very helpful.
I also like I don't know if you guys saw, but when someone has Celestial, it's like their side of the grid meter like has this like colored aura around it, blue or pink, depending on which side
The
you're
blue
on.
smoke.
Yeah, so I mean like I play Batista. I like shiny colors, and that to me was like pure endorphins. It was like whatever you call the mode in Guitar Hero, where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, we're, you know,
Star power.
That's
yeah,
funny.
man, star power.
Nah, that terrified me, man. The glow, when I see the glow, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna die.
What do you guys think of the character pop-ins when you win Vorpal?
I think they were not as bad as people thought they were gonna
No,
be.
I think it's worse than I thought it would be.
I'm a hater.
I got hit by so many overheads I couldn't see.
Oh
It was kinda
man,
messed
yeah.
up.
I personally did not have any bad experiences with it, but I 100% could see how someone could, which is kind of unfortunate to just get like whoopsie, like oh no, I was on player two side corner, and I won Vorpal. Unfortunate that I would not see that leg, coming for my face. So yeah,
It's like Piccolo Hellzone grenade mix, but with the Vorpal pop-up.
Exactly. I played a long set against a non-SA player who I will not name, who would assault JB right as that cut-in would happen.
Oh,
Like
who
almost
cares?
intentionally.
Just say Bolt, bro. Just say Bolt, man.
Yeah.
You can
They'll
be
remain
honest.
anonymous.
You can be honest, man.
But shame on them for finding the meta immediately.
I think even besides that, it's just so visually busy, and the game's already gotten like quite. Yeah, in this version, it seems like there's a lot going on. So having that on top of everything is a little bit much for me. Because one of the things I really liked about Under Night was it's very easy to parse visually. All the previous versions, actually. So it feels like a loss for me.
Mm.
Yeah, I do like the flair of it. I mean, it is pretty cool, but man.
You have to change the size of it or something to make it a little smaller and stuff like that. Because it's
Yeah,
just honestly too big. If it was a little bit smaller and maybe they just made it a little bit smaller, it'd probably be better. And also raise it up a little bit.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't like make like the character portraits glow in the corners when you like have Vorpal or something.
That'd be a good
Yeah,
middle ground.
so yeah, the character portraits are now rumbling when characters get hit, but they're not, yeah, not reacting like when Vorpal happens or anything like that. So yeah, I agree that that is actually a bit of a wasted opportunity there.
Yeah, they did make the sprites like shine brighter when you have Vorpal. Also with like green shields, your character is like super green.
I love the green shield change.
mm,
I love it so much.
Yeah, it makes it easier to react, right?
It looks so ugly, but it is easier to react. But it's such an ugly color of green they picked for the green show. It's so ugly.
What do you guys think of the character voices?
Oh man, actually, some of them are good, and I think people are hating too much on most of them. But I'm trying to think. Well, I don't know. I
All right,
actually
let me
I like
start with the
Nickelodeon voice.
positive. I like Landrekia's new lines from his voice actor, and particularly his IWEX gave me chills. I was like, "That's really cool, man. You really like Kamehameha it. Good for you. Good
But
for you."
he doesn't say Sayo. Sayo on 6B anymore. That was the best part of playing the character. He doesn't say it anymore.
Yeah, I
That's
saw people
shame.
over. A lot of people were saying they didn't like the new Lene voice. To me, it's like I'm kind of indifferent about it. I don't know. For me, the new voices are more just like a reminder that I'm playing a new game. It makes the game feel more fresh for me.
yeah.
It's just like, they've been using the same voice lines for like almost a decade, right? So, well, for not for
Yeah.
every character, right? But,
And I dig that for sure. Like it's a nice coat of paint, I think.
I don't think they're
yeah.
bad. I don't think most of them are bad. Well, Merkava's is not good, but
I think Carmine's is interesting. It
I
sounds like
think.
he's like,
Sorry.
no, you're good. It sounds like he's like burping when he gets hit. And I don't like that. But otherwise, like, I think I liked pretty much all of the new revoices. I think Hyde's was a bit higher pitched than I was used to, but then I got used to it towards the end. Yeah,
he's
like in the beginning, it kind of threw me off.
I was talking with Mark Vermont about that, and he says, "Why does he sound like Goku? He should sound like Hyde." And I think like we've been Stockholm syndrome for too long on the old voices that like
Yeah.
to a lot of players it just sounds very very different compared to what we expect the players to sound like or the
Mhm.
characters to sound like. So it's a little bit disappointing in that way, but I think as time goes on, we'll definitely get used to it.
Yeah.
Merkava 66C is accidentally iconic. Like, it's so silly. But then, like, I think back to my first experiences with the game, and like, just like pulling up training mode, and being like, "What is this Merkava creature?" And like having the same feeling, where it's like it's kind of funny. It's also like weird and cool, and I don't know. For me, it's like I said, it's like accidentally like super super successful in my mind. I think it's I love it.
All right.
Like the new voice you like a lot?
Yeah, like some of the lines like come across different in a good way, and
Oh, like
I don't know.
the new 66C is iconic, or you meant the old one?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay,
the
okay.
new one. The I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah, to me, I was like, am I fighting Merkava? Like when I heard the voices, it was so weird. But maybe it'll grow on us. I don't know. I actually just remembered they changed like the hit sparks too. I think the new hit sparks are pretty cool.
Yeah, I think
arcade effects, man. They brought them back.
I really personally always liked EL's absolutely overblown hit sparks. Like,
Yes.
well, I look back on that because I never played it. I played SC. So looking back at EL, I'm like, wait, that was kind of cool. Like, and so for me, I like it because it feels like they kind of just brought that back.
I don't like the epilepsy warning hit sparks in EL. I like the less visually busy hit sparks in clear. but-
Boring.
Yeah, I said that I like Under Night was appealing to me because of it being, you know, visually easy to parse, but I definitely like those hit sparks.
Oh.
They're
You-
I'll die on
great.
the hill alone.
when you hit that hide 6B in UD2, man, and then it just
Yeah.
the holy light.
You're just
shines
painting
from
lines
top.
across the screen. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yo,
You guys
the,
are-
the shield break taking up like actually the whole screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty big. Do you guys
It looks
remember?
like
Sorry, go ahead.
it looks like the Guilty Gear Strive burst whenever it happens, the one that goes full screen.
Do you guys remember in the like alpha uni trailer the really like the sound it'd make when you'd shield something? Like a super like I don't know how to describe a sound effect, but it's very prominent. But I think that's Gordo's. It sounds really similar to Gord's new tutu sound effect. Unfortunately, his tutu doesn't have like the spring effect
Oh
anymore.
yeah, we lost a good 2-2.
We lost the
so-
pogo.
Yeah.
The clank.
Losing the spring clank noise kind of sucks, but I want to say the new sound effect is like the original shielding sound effect, which I think is kind of cool. If that's true, don't quote me on that.
I will say that like visually I love the way that the hits look. But I will say like kind of the greater consequence of the tighter audio mix of the game overall, I feel like one of the hits that it took was a lot of hits at least being like pretty high pitched and like not as much, like for better or for worse, there's not as much mud in there. There's not as much bass for a lot of attacks, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I could kind of agree. I could kind of agree on that. They feel like I don't know how to describe it. I mean, obviously, I don't like every single sound change for some moves because Mortal Slide sounds weird. 2-2-A sounds.
oh yeah, when
weird.
Gordo does Grim Reaper, he's like Grim Reaper. Like he's not like Grim Reaper. Like it lost the kind of power behind it, which kind of sucks.
They feel more sharp, and I don't know what's the right word.
Yeah, I liked how
Noble.
Aurea sounded like so over the top during her special moves, and it sounds like she's kind of toned it down a bit, and it might be a consequence of
Does she
the
still
tighter-
say chain shift when she CS's?
Yeah.
I noticed
it's
that
like-
Kaguya does that too, which is kind of cool. It's like maybe it's like a Lich Christ thing or something.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
maybe they invented the terminology, you know.
Mm.
Hey,
We got some like lore.
Yeah, now we're getting into the 2-hour lore section. So
Oh no. Oh, I gotta go to sleep. Good night.
I did want to bring up the netcode though. I had some pretty good experiences with the netcode. My first match actually was against DHD, the Merkava player, which is like a
Oh.
200 ping match, which was playable. It wasn't amazing. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a connection I would personally want to play on. I did play against Nephros though, and that was like a 130 ping match, I think. And at least on my end, he said it was good for him too. It was great for me. That connection was good. I'm happy about that. If we can play, at least like more East Coast and EU can play, that'd be really cool.
Mhm.
Everyone I played with who was in NA that wasn't on Wi-Fi was a really great connection. I'm hoping the PC version is similar, but we'll have to see. Did you guys have good experiences with the netcode?
So, speaking of Wi-Fi, I committed some sins. I thought, man, I forgot to change my LAN cable. I know I wasn't the only one. I saw Squish tweet about it, and I was like, yeah, another one. So, considering that I was on PSN Wi-Fi, pretty good. Sorry, but
For the whole beta?
yeah, and so apparently I was playing against Nyan Nyan, formerly known as Venice. Um, and our connection was like really good. Like there were 2 or 3 major hiccups, but in like an hour of playing, and the rest was like very much playable. I was like, that's kind of incredible, actually, in retrospect.
I had some pretty good connections in the beta as well. I also I got to play Nephros too, and I think I got like 150, 140 ping. If you just add a little bit of delay, it's pretty playable. The highlight of my netplay experience was playing against Captain Sugar, and I think I got like 220 ping. But when I set my input delay to like 3 frames, it felt better than playing like Canada from where I live now. So
Ouch.
Australia to
Okay.
Houston. Yeah, I'm sorry, Carm. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Felt better than my connection to like pretty much anybody besides you in Eastern Canada. How's that?
Oh, great. Never mind. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, Garminet's pretty.
Yeah, I didn't not play too much. I played against CG, felt really good. Like it just feels like he's right there next to me, like tweeting about Type Moon or whatever. But I will say that I think the ranked experience will not like markedly improve. There will be more games, but because the game is now a rollback, there's just going to be a lot of people who think like their dodgy internet will fly now. And I did experience that like playing casual matches versus randoms. There's just always going to be like people with very very bad connections trying to get games in.
Sorry.
Yeah. I will say I really liked how casual match was infinite rematch. I thought that was really cool. I liked
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you could just find someone and just grind out games. I'm really hoping my personal dream setup would be ranked matchmaking is random opponent. You can't pick who you play against, and it's first to two. Well, you can see ping, of course, before you play. That would be ideal. And it's first to two. You play the set. You're done. Casual match, I think, could stay exactly how it was in the beta. You can see a list. You can pick someone and grind infinite matches. That's personally how I would set up the net play.
Yeah, that sounds pretty chill.
Yeah, that would be a great change.
I was grinding it out with randoms, man. Some of these randoms be getting down, man.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
like
want to quit.
dude's first Sarugi combo, and he's getting fucking shimmied by Lon, man. He's having a ball, like. So, like I played with randoms. I'd play like 40 plus games with them sometimes. Like I think it's pretty good
Doing God's work.
because some people just want to play.
Yeah.
I was hunting, man, in the beta. I was hunting for how much I could stretch this connection. I played DHD, the Merkaba player, European Merkaba player. That was pretty good. But you know, when that rollback Merc mix happened, you know, I was like, "Ugh," but it was mostly fine. And then I also got to play Jaka and Nox, and those were both pretty good. So
Ooh.
expecting uni to a lot of these regions that kind of haven't really got the time to shine much. Because I mean, most of the big tournaments in uni right now are in the U.S. America. So
I want to play Class for Seth so bad.
dude, you gotta
You
play
know?
Nox. Nox is a fiend, man. I was like, holy, this is one of the best Oriers I've played in a minute.
When you were playing on the EU connections, did you change your input delay?
Yeah, I did. I think I put it to 2. It was pretty fine.
Yeah, I pretty much left mine on 2 the entire beta. I didn't really touch it.
I think the rollback is I think it's decent. It could be better. It's not like spectacular rollback, but it's better than delay based. Especially if you're playing like people in the same country. Like it's pretty good, but it's gonna be kind of hard to stretch it a little bit, like super far. But we'll definitely
I
be able to
mean,
get the
I mean
the connections.
that's
this-
generally the case, though, right? Like, I don't think it's like. Let me put it this way: there's no limitation that I saw in the beta that made me think like, oh, this is unexpected that we can't do this. Like
Yeah,
I kind of expect that if we're playing out of country, over an ocean, that we're gonna lose something along the way. It's it's never gonna be totally perfect, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like even for me, playing like I could play good games against Omni League, and with Defi too. For some reason, Defi and I in clear get like 5 to 6 frames. It's like completely unplayable. Um, but we could actually like play the game against each other in the beta, which was really nice.
Yeah,
I'm
it
really
was
looking forward to playing South American players, Defi, if that's the report. That's
yeah,
exciting.
definitely my report back is that they're gonna be pretty annoying. They're
That's
gonna be
exciting.
pretty messed up. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're definitely gonna have some. It might depending on how good the PC port is, because PC ports for fighting games are never good. But maybe this time we'll get lucky. But if we do get lucky, we're definitely gonna have some big tournaments, with like South American players and European players. It'll be pretty good. Some exhibition stuff that we never get to happen. So
300 ping limit.
Oh, that's cursed.
Wait, didn't you get like
I
220 to Australia?
It was playable. Yeah, 220.
Oh,
It was playable.
so my hope for this version is that between the netcode and just the wave, riding the wave, my hope is that I will be able to complete this matchup series that I was trying to do, where I play with different character main and then like talk about the matchup. I wanted to do every character, and then I like quickly realized that in clear like that actually was not possible. So I'm hoping that we can make that happen in Uni 2, and I feel like if I can do that, then huge success in my mind.
yep, gonna be very possible.
Yeah, I'm looking
Especially
forward
with so much
to.
talent.
What's up?
Go ahead.
I was say I'm looking forward to being able to play matchups that I don't get any experience in. Like I have no idea what Wald does. I'm not even sure which normals are which. I have like zero experience fighting that character. So I'm hoping that, rollback will just, bring a lot of people back and make grinding matchups a lot more accessible. But speaking of grinding, we can start talking about the system mechanic changes, so we can go into the stuff that we discussed last time we were on the podcast about how we kind of thought the meta would play out and what would be strong, what would be weak. I think the general consensus right now is that defense is like pretty weak right now. Because teching throws is a lot more committal with the 1AD change and buffs to pressure like 4AA, and a user did some testing that the tech window might be 2 frames smaller. So what was your guys' experience with that?
So the quote that I took away from my weekend was, at some point I was playing Red offline, Red Blade, and we were talking about like things that you have to give up in your fighting game for rollback, and they have their like jump scare mechanics is what they were deemed. Like in Street Fighter 6 is Drive Impact,
Mhm.
or Drive Rush, but like what he said by the end of the weekend was like throw is the jump scare mechanic that got added to the game. That's how it feels like, because the change to 1AD is big. It's like really big. You really feel it. But I was surprised that that smaller tech window and the movement speed across all characters, like all characters are moving quicker, that those two other things I was feeling just as strongly as the 180 change.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
All characters were moving quicker.
Yeah, like you can. I don't know if it was dash acceleration necessarily that was changed, but the minimum dash throw distance seemed a lot more lenient to the point where like I was getting a dash throw in Uni 2 in probably like 12 frames where it would take me like almost 10 frames more in clear.
Hmm.
So like if that's true for Lond, like it's got to be true for other characters. Like that was what was getting commented on. And if you look at like Red Blade set with Big Black, and you look at BB do that kind of classic double dash block throw, where you dash block, maybe even you dash block a third time, and you go for the throw. And I don't know, just the rhythm of it is like, ugh, it's like disorienting, and you don't know if they're gonna dash block and then like shimmy, like walk back and press 2B, whatever. So that little sequence, it was like scary to look at. It was like he's wriggling towards you. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's moment, like, and so yeah, I do think it's across the cast, because what was fast only got faster, and my character that like has a little bit more of a startup before he gets going is suddenly zooming after a rebeat. So definitely, without a doubt, everyone is schmoovin'.
Yeah, I probably didn't notice it just because Linné dash throw is already like absurd. So didn't realize.
So carried.
True.
Carried.
I noticed that as well when I was playing Carmine, because I was able to throw green shields I used to not be able to due to ending on like a really spaced out 5A, seeing the green shield, and I don't know, something about the dash startup or dash acceleration. I was throwing green shields from a mile away, and that definitely wasn't happening in the previous version.
You know that meme where there's the guy, he's like, his hands to temples, and he's like telekinetically moving the piece of pizza to his mouth? Do you know what I'm talking about? That's how it feels like to dash throw in Uni 2. Like it just happens. You just will it, and it occurs.
Yeah, maybe you just hit your top speed faster or something. I don't know.
It's definitely dash acceleration. One character that I thought it was crazy, but when you look at him, you're like, dude, he's moving. It's fucking Enkidu, man.
Yeah.
The character was not that fast before.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell, honestly. Like I was just dashing with him in training mode. It like he felt faster, but it was also like I was like, this could be placebo, but I'm like, I feel like he's like kind of moving. But
Yeah,
it's not placebo.
that fella was moving.
It also seemed like there were some walk speed buffs too, to like
God.
yeah,
to like
I
I think Wagner's walk looked a lot
Wagner
faster.
and Phonon. Why would they do? Why would they do that?
Phonon.
Why would they do that? Got me shaking my head. Why would you give Phonon a good walk speed, bro?
No, she needs it.
She needs
No,
it.
she does. No, she does not.
I couldn't tell if Hydes was faster, but it kind of felt faster when I was playing him. I'm not super experienced playing Hyde though.
I gotta say though, like, from a big picture perspective, I really, really like that you can't. Honestly, it's with it dash throw being like easier to do, more responsive. Like you're able to get it easier. It's kind of nice that removes a lot of the whoopsie whiffed throw moments.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my experience, there were less moments of someone whiffed a throw and then like scramble initiated because like the throw was just gonna connect, which is like a lot simpler for both the person on offense and the person on defense. Like I like that they were able to achieve that without a static like BB tag or multi blood type Lumina run throw animation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's also extra important because they made throw whiffs have more recovery. So, which also like really hurts 180 again. They really just hate 180, I guess. But if you whiff a throw, you have more recovery in Uni 2. It's still not counter hit recovery, but you definitely have more recovery than in Uni 1. So we probably won't see more like scrambles like you were talking about too, like where like situations where throw is plus on whiff, what people say.
I remember the first time I played against I think it was Mosin. He was throw looping me in the corner, and then he did this thing where he would like hit you with a throw, and then he timed a whiff throw, and then you would see that while you're knocked down, and you'd be like, okay, I guess I can mash here, and then he meets you with like 4C or something, and you look like the biggest idiot, So I'm glad they nerfed that out of the game because that was cheater stuff.
He's still gonna do it, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe he
no.
will.
You about to get hit by the same thing. Let's be real.
True.
Also for strike throw, I don't know about you guys, but I was completely abusing the 4A stagger, which is really good, especially on Lene, because her 5A is just such a good pressure tool. It felt kind of silly. I was kind of like exclusively using 4A to like do pressure.
I was using it less than I expected to, personally, actually. I think that also just might just be a fact that like my character's offense is very juiced, but we'll get to that later. It didn't feel like I had to rely on it that much. But when I was playing Aurier, it was ridiculous. Like you could 4A up until like it felt like round start distance. It was so stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, with the strike throw stuff, like I thought it's kind of played out the exact way I thought it would. Like I think I thought it was a refreshing change to the game because honestly, we've been working our asses off for years, man, having to open characters like Byakuya up with 1 AD and in that big ass tech window, and it's really hard, but it feels nice that there's kind of like an actual shimmy game in the game now. There's definitely an actual shimmy game in it, and it definitely buffs the characters with really good backdashes. So pretty much every like the main strike throw, gremlins like Enkidu, Akatsuki, Hyde, buffs right there. It buffs every single set play character because now you just get shimmied on Biak webs, you get shimmied on Carmine Bomb, you get shimmied on 2-2C, so you have to guess between like a shimmy that'll make you explode or yeah, take the throw, man.
2.3k throw, by the way. Let's go.
It's ridiculous, man. Like,
What's 2.3k throw?
Wand 2-2C throw.
Like in Celestial?
No, base damage.
base damage.
What?
So, like Celestial VO caps out at 3.5.
Dude.
Do not get like either way. You're taking a lot of damage if you take the throw or you get shimmied. So
They gotta bring 1 AD back.
So the thing is, okay, so here's the thing about 1AD. The thing is, 1D AD does exist, and you can use it. It just feels bad to use. Like, literally, the input feels like trash to input. Like, you have to 1D and then manually time, like, 2 or 3 frames later, your AD. And if there's any sort of overlap, if you don't leave the appropriate number of frames, then it just doesn't come out. You just don't get the tech. So, which is like the worst of both worlds, basically. So, this also means, by the way, since you have to delay that AD input, that you are also several frames more susceptible to, whatever thing can blow you up.
Yeah.
So, that sucks. I think that, like, if we're going to have these really strong strike through set play situations, I guess you could call them, where you can get, shimmied and blown up by a projectile or whatever. If we're going to have those, can we have this Shield OS be just a little bit more intuitive to input? Because like it does exist and we can use it. It just doesn't feel good to input it. Like it just feels really, really awkward or unintended,
Yeah, I don't think it's very good.
Yeah, I think the intended part is the thing that stands out to me the most. It kind of feels like it was an unintended change considering how everything else around it was adjusted. And I don't know, maybe it just came to be about something with the input reader changing or an input buffer change. But balance wise, the kind of throw offense I was running just felt very one note, not very interesting to play. I remember I left the beta initially feeling like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like my offense is so easy now. I don't have to think. I could pick Aurier and press my low over and over and over, and they'll press their stand tech during my block stun and they'll lose. Or I'll pick Carmine and I'll have a bomb and I'll backdash and release it. But I don't know, the fact that the input is so unintuitive now and doesn't like it feel the offense comparatively in that situation, the throw threat is too difficult to counter reliably, I felt, and it kind of made the offense feel less interesting and cool whenever I went back to clear and play afterwards. It kind of felt like I was outplaying my opponent a lot more, and I appreciated that feeling more, I guess, when I went back to clear and played a strike throw offense.
So like, you think like in Unity 2 beta, like offense felt kind of like autopilot-y? You weren't like really considering your opponent's options as much?
To be honest, when I was playing Carmine, absolutely, 100%. I was setting down bomb and
You're
then
so real for this.
walking towards my opponent with a bomb set, and then I'd backdash, and it would cover pretty much everything they do except throwing me immediately or mashing on me. Even if they mashed on me immediately, if I released the bomb in time, they'd get hit. It didn't feel as, I don't know. It felt less cool.
Rewarding.
Yeah, it felt less fun. It felt less fun. The situation felt way more linear and way less
Okay,
interesting.
so linear is a good term to go with. I would also use binary. Like,
Yeah.
there are situations that become less about RPS and more about did you take the throw or did you not.
Yeah.
It kind of relegates it to Street Fighter a little bit.
Street Fighter 5 is exactly what I was thinking of when I was playing that.
Until we find ways to counter those situations. I do think that I do actually think that the Shield OS is like one part of the answer. Also, if you do a Rising Jump A specifically OS, you catch backdashers. So I mean, that may come up more.
Yeah.
So until we find these specific answers, that's exactly what it feels like. And the new VO also plays into that. That like it's strike throw. You just guess one or the other, and if you want to cover both options, then VO. So that was kind of everything that I was worried it was going to be like in a sense. But I think that there is still room for things to develop within that.
I agree. That's a more optimistic takeaway than I had, but I think I agree with that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they did most of this stuff on purpose. Like the VO, the reason why VO is taking the place of Shield as our option to beat both like our 1AD to beat both strike and throw. Like it's supposed to be the new option that we're supposed to use, and I think that was intended by everybody. Like that was definitely an intended change, and like I don't know. I feel like I agree. I agree with you that it's the reason I played Uni is that you always had to you had to like figure out an equation on how to open up a good player.
Yeah.
But also at the same time it kind of makes it hard to boot up sometimes because then I have to like play against like fucking Omni and he's just teching every single throw because 3-cam is actually stupidly broken and like it's just extremely hard to open people up in previous Undernight games. It's pretty hard, and that's what made Undernight like a timeout game because you couldn't really open people up, so you kind of just had to sit there and play the clock. Uni before you're playing the timer, but now you can actually put in the effort and like make people guess. I guess it's binary.
Dude, there was no effort involved. I just set my set plate spool and I walked towards them. There was no thought going through my brain. I'm gonna be completely transparent.
You probably weren't playing on like a lot of really good players.
Outplayed some good players, you know.
I mean, what you think is good players, but
I think an important thing to think about too is that like everyone looks at the offense changes, right? And like really honed in on them, but I think we're kind of just still not used to the defense changes. Like
that's what I'm saying.
people
Adapt.
are using offense probably more effectively in the beta than they are in defense because it's probably just easier to implement.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I wanted to segue into talking more about Veil-Off. I think we can all agree that VO stripping being gone is very nice.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you were kind of talking about Pesto, how there's like kind of not a replacement for 180. And VO I think is like definitely supposed to be the replacement because it's 14 frames, so like it can really like lots of
Yeah,
VO
so,
safe options are, I think almost all VO safe options are no longer VO safe.
Pretty much. So I was told that it's actually 13 frames instead of 14,
Oh wow.
which doing the math would make sense why you can't actually a normal immediate with any character. Like they specifically saw that and were like, no. So we're specifically not going to give that to you. So it's now the same speed as Lon Drekio Force Function. So if you want to lab against new VO, his startup on his reversal is the exact same.
Huh. Yeah. I think one thing I just realized too is like in terms of baiting VO, you could like a wake up VO, you can do something like Gordo can do like 2-2 CS, right? And whiff cancel the CS and then block the DP. But they removed AD giving you CS. So like before, for example, Lene ADP CS, you do 623 AD. But that just gives you throw now. So
Interesting.
in Lene's
Weird.
situation, it makes the input for ADP CS meaty like extremely hard. I imagine that probably is the similar for a lot of other characters. I was trying to do like Hugo follow-up CS as like a makeshift ghetto sort of safe meaty. It was like kind of not really working. Which I think like kind of shows how strong the new VO is. Like both of those combined. The new VO is like
Yeah,
strong.
I'm glad that you brought up CS canceling though, because it does feel like that's supposed to be the answer. Like that you're supposed to frame trap with a special CS cancel it, and aha, they veiled off. You know, like
Yeah, I think me personally, I love the new VO. I like that it resets to neutral. My favorite part of second favorite part of fighting games is neutral. My favorite part is combos, but I love playing neutral, so I like that there's more neutral resets in the game. Veil off, grid thrust, and getting hit by a VO doesn't feel like you just got like ran over by a bus because you don't get grid broken for it anymore. And it does replace the 180. I think it's fine. For people being too fast, some people said it was like really annoying. But I think the fact that you're using all of your meter for a neutral reset is pretty okay.
I definitely was in the camp of let's make it a little slower. Maybe not even all the way back to 20 frames, but like let's make it a little slower. And then I thought about what that person had told me, saying, "Hey, it's 13." I was like, "Oh, 13, huh?" And I was like, this kind of actually saves us from a few toxic situations where like we perfectly time our a normal meaty.
Yeah.
It's on the last active frame, and they wake up CS and just beat us for it. Like that's so weird and volatile, and I'm actually glad that's not in the game. But I feel like for me it has to be one or the other. It has to be what it is currently in the beta, or it has to be like more leniently able to mediate but still like faster than 20, like 17, 18, I don't know. But like we want to avoid that reality of like wake up CS into full combo because you tried to bait Veil off. That would be like a little much for me.
That's a good
yeah,
point.
I think
didn't think about that.
I think like the way I see Komone kind of taking the game is more committal. So like that's a good example where like there isn't this like one frame that's perfect where you can bait VO and like, you know, still meaty and stuff. Like I think they kind of want you to like, no, stop using this safe 1AD throw tech option for this 14 frame tech window. I want you to, you know, if you want to use an option that beats everything except for blocking, like you're gonna do VOOS detect the throw. Like he kind of wants you to really commit, and it actually kind of reminds me of your tweet, Fox, of talking about like I don't remember exactly how you titled it, but it was like a little thread about like good players versus really good players, where it was kind of like what I'm thinking of is like a good player will detect the throw with an OS, right? But a really good player who has the read will mash on you running up and get a full combo instead. So I feel like that's kind of the direction the game is going.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it felt like, especially like playing with Red Blade and kind of being really intimately familiar with his offensive style and like what he wants out of situations. I was like, I can't believe that they made a game just for you. Like they made a game for the offensive player who like really wants to get in there and make things happen. I was like, man. But in a way, it's so validating to know that skills like being able to scout rebeats and mash appropriately, like being able to shield assault, like really basic skills, but that can have a lot of nuance within matchups, are rewarded in that sense. Uh, Maybe a little more so than rotating OSs, you know? So I think the outplay in this game is probably less going to be how you like mastercraft your OS burrito and more about how like you recognize how they're structuring their pressure and like find an honest way out of it or not or slam like you know your horizontal reversal whatever but like
Yeah.
you know that your ability to contest pressure is like way more emphasized and rewarded, so that in a sense is kind of validating and pretty cool. I kind of like that, you know.
Yeah.
I say this as a character that has like really great mash out tools, so like I'm super biased, but
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Yeah, well, the way I describe it is basically all the versions of Unity we're playing before were like kind of playing this twisted version of Under Night where it's like Under Night, but it's not really Under Night because of how Strip is and like I guess it's its own little thing. But I think Uni 2 in its truest form is probably like the most Under Night version of Under Night we'll probably ever get because the emphasis it's like you think about like oh Veal's so annoyingly fast and you know there's so much other things to worry about, but when you look at the really positive stuff like when I was playing when I'd play for Cycle you could feel it. It feels it feels terrible to lose Cycle in E2. It feels absolutely terrible. It's like way more like in Uni Clear if I lost Cycle I'm like I don't care. I'm gonna just hit you.
pretty
I don't
much,
give.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck. You're
I
either
can
gonna spend
I
CS
can
on
give
break
up this cycle
or you're fine.
and you know I'll frame trap you 2 seconds later and then the cycle will be mine. Like I don't care. Yeah.
Foxoff apologized to me about that in DMs too. He's like, my bad.
About giving you
Get me
cycle and then
Unity too.
pressing 5BB.
Yeah.
Well, that did happen.
It's just like it feels wrong sometimes in current version, current sunsetting clear to absolutely just quadruple down on pressure and then get rewarded for it, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of people I kind of saw saying that like you know Uni was a survival game. I think this is also kind of what Defi was saying, like Uni was a survival game and Uni 2 is a killing game just because options are more committal. You know, overall damage is higher. I don't know if health pools increased actually. I didn't really look into that at all. I
You
don't
know what I think they should do? So everyone has been saying, you know, damage is pretty high. Like characters are on average doing several hundred more damage, sometimes on a B&B. And then you know, you throw in all these bonuses from like Celestial and meter refund with Vorpal, and yeah, like rounds can end really quickly. Well, you know what I think they should do?
Hmm.
I think they should just keep the damage values crazy high, and then just like not tell us, but inflate the HP pools a little bit, and just like let us have let them like totally condition us to believe that we're doing more damage in all of our B&Bs, and like all the health pools are just like 1,000 higher.
Feed
That
us
make me
like
so
children and feed us the
yeah.
bigger numbers.
You literally, yeah, feed us the big number, but don't make it, drain the health bars.
Have you guys seen the IW damage though?
Ugh,
Dude,
It's a bit absurd.
that is absurd.
A little bit.
too good. That needs to be changed. That definitely has to be changed because some characters are doing like combos in the IW and they're like, oh my god, every character with the combo throw is fucking broken. They're so broken. Like Hyde, he throws you IW. That's like easy 3K
Mm-hmm.
and some change. It's too good.
Another thing I want to touch on about like VO and the strike throw situation is that since offense feels stronger and defense is more committal, I think that's gonna make neutral pretty important. Um, like some characters like Enkidu, for example, he has really good pressure. And in Clear, in my opinion, he's a pretty decent character. Like he's a good character because you kind of you don't play neutral that much in Uni, and then you're either on defense or you take a throw and then you're on offense. And someone like Enkidu who has really good offense can make good use of that because there's not a lot of resets to neutral. Obviously it's hard for Enkidu to get that first hit in and to get his turn going, but once he does, it's when you see Enkidu have a player in the corner, you're like, oh, this round might be over. So I think that's gonna make neutral a bit more strong. That's like kind of why I think Enkidu and Aurier is one of Enkidu's worst matchups because Aurier can just reset neutral with backdash, and it's hard for Enkidu to contest.
Yeah, I never actually I'm sorry. I never actually made the video in current version, but I was going to talk all about like kind of what you could call a bad dash block or like a dash block that just is like, okay, you're giving up too much. Like you're giving them too much initiative to work with because it's like kind of begging the person with the stronger neutral, okay, come in, just do what you want with me, throw me or assault me, whatever. Like so in a sense, like kind of showing your belly too much if you don't vary things up, if you're just dash blocking robotically. So that'll be especially no good in this version. You gotta be able to like hold your ground a little bit or like make a more substantial approach. Like just dash block may not be as good of advice for most matchups.
Thank
I mean,
God.
we got a new mechanic that lets you, randomly just get out of the corner. And
True.
it's creeping edge.
Yeah, we can
Dude,
talk about that. What do you guys think about Creeping Edge?
dude, creeping edge. When I was hearing people's opinions in the beta, I don't think I could get a single like everybody's like it's bad, it's good, it's bad, it's good, it's broken. Like, and I'm like, I don't know. I think it's okay. I think it's like in the middle. I don't think it's like bad.
It,
Or
it
it's
does
like
its job. I think
it's
it's kind of
broken.
it feels kind of like an extraneous mechanic. I don't know.
When you use it against Yuzu, when you use it against Yuzu on like certain pressure strings for her, your brain is gonna be open. Like when I was playing like Carp and Rurik, when they're in the air, I would like reaction roll to one of the slashes, like the B Saki or A Saki or whatever, and I'd like react and roll and get the grid, and then I'm also closer in their face too, and there's really not much Yuzu can do because she's in the air. She can't like stance cancel like no cancel and fall down and like punish me. She can't do that. So like it opens a lot for characters with maybe more ignorant stuff. Like I don't know, for example, like Merkava up back fireball or Aurier up back 214A or something like that. Like it
that
opens up.
that triple ball.
Yes.
Like if you
And
want
I
to get
know
through that triple ball, you actually can just like roll through the first and block the second, or so on. You can play leapfrog with them, and
I
it's
can
just
finally
fine.
play Aurier Batista and not cry.
Yeah, I was playing against some bats in the beta, and I was just rolling like at full screen, and I'm like, okay, you're gonna shoot a laser. So I was just rolling through lasers and forward advancing farther than I
That's a
would.
Chad maneuver. That's a pretty Chad maneuver. Not gonna lie.
I mean, I'm just like, I know I'm full screen. I know you're gonna laser. I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna move forward than I ever would with dash, farther than I ever would with dash block, and I'm gonna get a shield in. So it's a nice option to have.
I remember at some point Fendo was complaining. Fendo slash school bus. I almost said sometimes school bus. This Fendo guy was saying, one weakness of Carmine is, yeah, he puts the wheel on you, but then if you're going to do the setup at the timing that you want, like you have to go for it after you get that wheel out, or you
Yeah.
have to like just down back and see what they'll do. But you
Yeah.
actually can't choose both. You can't choose to put the wheel out and sit there and wait to see what they do and then get your full like up back assault mix up. You can't. So knowing that, there were a few times when I was like, it's my time, and I just left. I just left the situation, and I was like, okay, yeah, that does feel pretty good. And now I'm back, like, I roll, I backdash. Now I'm mid-screen. They're cornered. Like, this is a pretty good position for me.
Yeah, it definitely shown in that situation. You're right about that. Like, there are ways around it in which if you have two bombs, you can use your first bomb after you down pack and wait to see what happens, and then use that first bomb to gaplessly go into another bomb. But that's resource intensive, and like you kind of have to have execution to keep that up. But yeah, it's good counterplay to just nope out of Corneroki against Carmine, which is nice because sometimes that feels like just an unfair situation. But I think the character in which it shined the most that I saw in neutral was against Chaos, actually. When I was blocking Dog, you don't really have to block Dog as much anymore. You just you wait for him to DP and you roll through him, and then you're in there. It was very. I was surprised about how effective it was, and it doesn't feel like there's a ton of ways for Chaos to call it out. It felt like a very strong option against the Aussie pressure. Yeah, I was really surprised by how much it paid off in neutral against him.
Can
I'm
he still?
a little concerned for Chaos.
Can he
Just a little bit.
still? Can he
A
still
little
cancel
bit.
into other Aussie specials if you roll through?
Well, I don't think so. I think that only comes into effect if he has Vorpal, then you could do it on Whiff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm concerned about him too. I think Force Function Flame Carpet's like a ridiculous move, but like Aussie not being projectile invuln is going to turn a lot of matchups on its head, and will be very interesting. Like when I was playing Carmine, I think in clear that is one of Carmine's least comfortable matchups. One of the matchups I personally hate playing the most. And in the next version, I was like blinking and destroying Dog. It made no sense. But the Flame Carpet was still putting me on my ass. So it was, I feel like you'll just have to play the character differently and use different tools. But I don't know. I'm concerned about him. Sorry for the sidebar, but yeah.
All good. I think
That was a good sidebar. I like that sidebar.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying about roll. Is that it's like another thing I like about it for escaping corner pressure is it's kind of like all right, I'm out of the corner, but it's not like I'm gonna roll out of the corner and now you're in the corner and now I take my turn. It's like I like the middle ground of like, let me get out of this shitty situation, but it's not turning the whole situation on its head.
Well, I guess it depends on how good you are at RPSing after the successful roll. I don't know.
A successful roll into VO. Let's go.
That's the Persona 4 arena roll into DP. I think one thing that is kind of cringe about Creeping Edge though is character specific rolls. I really do not like that. I really do not like that.
Yeah, what's going on with Landrekia's roll? Why is he like doing like a raid
so
and
cool.
teleport?
It's like the best one. It is flat out the best Creeping Edge in the game.
It threw me off so much when I saw it. I was like, what's going on my screen? Where is he going?
But so yeah, Lon doesn't have to worry about any of this. But if you're Linné, Aurier, and Merkava. Is it just those three?
I think there's 4, but I don't remember who the 4th is.
I think Yuzu's was a better for him.
Okay. Well, but if you're one of these quote unquote airborne rolls, you can still be thrown. Like, you don't suddenly get throw invul. You do get command throw invul, which is weird. But you can still be thrown out of it. But also, as you are landing, you are recovering from the roll. Even if it's successful, you can be hit before you hit the ground. Like, you can be trip guarded
You
on
can be
your
arrow
roll.
blockable.
Yeah. That's that's a more accurate term.
Also about the command grabs, like, yeah, Gordeau can BSM you out of your roll, but he can't normal command grab like he can with the rest of the cast.
They should have never. That's the Gordo players only want one thing, and it's disgusting, and it's BSM.
BSM.
Like, why did they give him a new way to do that?
Wait, I just realized eventually at some point in Unity 2's lifespan, if they don't get rid of the character specific rolls, somebody is gonna get rolled. They're gonna get Seth B grabbed out of their roll and full comboed and killed. At some point, that's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen week 2.
Splugy's gonna do that to me day 1.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
gonna be
Yeah.
an
yeah,
epic
Splugy
war.
would do it. I feel like all the Seth players would want to do that. Like it would be a competition, like a race, you know.
Yeah, that sounds about accurate. Yeah.
Speaking of the characters, though, do we want to talk about the characters you guys played as? Are we ready to move on?
Yeah, I think I guess just like as a final thought on all these system changes, like I have hope that we can work through some of the stronger offense. Things will be feeling like a little more binary at first, but like I don't know, like I think it's pretty good. Like 90%, I really like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree. And I think it's important, like we said, right? We might be used to Uni offense, like Uni 2 offense, but we don't know how to do Uni 2 defense just yet. Maybe it does suck, you know. Maybe it is bad, but we need some more time for sure.
Okay. I didn't say it sucked, but
I didn't say you said it sucked, but you know,
it didn't feel like when I was running offense, I don't know, it felt like I was drooling on my stick, you know, like there just wasn't much going on in my brain. And hopefully as more defensive options creep up and people get better at the game and people get more adjusted to it, things start to become more interactive in those situations, and they feel.
We will get Maximilian Dude to make the how to deal with set play throw situations in Uni 2 video week 1, and it'll be all good. Like, it'll all be sorted.
The assist me for set play throw situations. I don't know. I feel like the set play, like media with an object and throw, it feels like a bit much. That was my takeaway when I was playing my character. But when I was playing Aurier, very fun times, and the neutral feels just as good, and her damage and combos are way more consistent. So I really like how that character's feeling in the next version.
Did you use Aurier's new, like her thrust follow up and her new EX move at all?
The thrust follow up kind of felt like whatever when I was playing her, but the new super is pretty neat. It's like slightly minus on the way up, on the way down it's very plus. So it's an interesting way to like end your block strings to set up funky throw situations, and you can like do it in a block string and then assault JA, and you can still combo afterwards. And I feel like there's gonna be a lot of cool applications for it down the line. And YOLOing in a neutral is pretty funny because it tracks very well. And it feels like the character, more specifically, the damage changes were what felt like the most. The damage and combo consistency changes were what felt like were the most relevant for her, and I feel like I can play her game plan a lot better and not have to use 5D chess on which 5A or 2A I'm going to use to pick up off of DP or whatever to do my combos. And they took out a lot of like that kind of annoying variance in her routing, which I really liked. Everything felt way more consistent.
How are you feeling about Carmine overall? Like,
to be honest, I mean, he feels. I remember on the last podcast I was very like lukewarm on how the character was, particularly because I didn't fully understand how Celestial was going to work it seems as though like if you have 4 blocks, it's a lot more difficult to get more grid after that.
Yeah, like it feels almost impossible to bridge that 4 to 6 block gap
Yeah,
unless you're like shielding on defense. Like shielding on defense seems to be like the one way that it's like really plausible. But like
exactly.
everything else is like it feels like they really have had to have given it to you like very, very hard, you know?
Yeah, so as long as you like toe that line precisely and don't overplay your hand on offense, his offense is just feels kind of absurd. um, and the additional defensive options they gave him, they patched up his reversals with 63C being fully invuln, and but current and the way it works in current clear, it loses its invulnerability before it's active, so you lose the
Oh.
meaties quite
Yep,
often.
yep.
Oh, yeah.
But the way it works in the next version, it's fully invuln throughout, similar to how like Wald's EXDP it functions very similarly in the last version and is also patched to work that way too. And I think Merkava CD 236C also got changed that way. Anyways, that change is huge to make like reversal situations make a bit more sense. You know, you're not just like gambling 214C and hoping they don't meet you properly. Um, 214C got to change. It's just they changed a lot of things to make the character more consistent, and that seems like a theme throughout the cast. And they added like
Yeah, definitely.
more ways for him to OTG with his normals, and with that with the consistency added on top of his offense feeling much more powerful. I don't know. I might be playing a top tier in the next version. I never thought I'd
Hmm.
say it.
You know, I'm glad that you are like open to the idea. I'm definitely open to the idea. I think Carmine is looking like really, really strong. Like really, really good.
Yeah, the offense is stupid. I mean, like he has
Yeah, I think
unseeable overhead. So.
until we can like really find some concrete answers, yeah, it's looking it's looking pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and also his Rising J consistency. I think it only doesn't work on 3 characters now, considering compared to how it used to be in the
It works on
first versions.
Batista. Let's go.
The Batista, it works on Byakuya, it works on Akatsuki. Like, I can no longer say Akatsuki Carmine's a 7-3 matchup and like only kind of laugh. 'Cause that matchup does feel bad.
I mean, it is still a 7-3.
It's like a 6.5, you know.
Did you find any use for Carmine's new moves?
The dive kick is pretty sweet. I liked it a lot. I feel like the consensus on it was more lukewarm. I was just mashing it like Merkava on defense, and I was getting a lot of mileage out of it, out of it that way. And just having another way to move around in the air is nice because Carmine already has a lot of air options to mess with his air momentum and such. And his new 6/6 FF move is interesting. It doesn't cover jumps nearly as well as I'd hoped. And it seems like that's a change across the board to make projectiles less good against assault and jump. I felt like if 6/6 FF was in current uni, it would be a lot more powerful because I feel like it would have a more accurate hitbox to assault heights. But now it's pretty easy to in the beta. It was pretty easy to be assaulted over. So in neutral, it felt less good to press, but in pressure, it was really good because you can delay cancel into specials, and it was a very difficult mash point because you can frame trap with a bunch of stuff, or you can just go into wheel into, you know, unblockable overheads. Yeah,
Oh,
the moves are sick.
I'm glad that you brought up the assault height thing because like definitely like assault
Yeah,
feels so different in neutral this version, you know?
yeah. And I could see that as being like a bit of a difficult thing to play around because relying on Carmine 6B to anti-air assault from afar is like a hallmark of playing him right now, you know. but but it all in all, I think the character feels very juiced. And I personally I don't expect him to feel as good in the like I expect some things to be toned down. uh, yeah,
You know
that's
how
my thoughts.
fast the 6/6 FF is?
I think I remember I checked it but I don't have it in front of me right now. I'd have to dig it up.
Okay, all good.
Felt pretty quick.
Okay, lawn players, take it away.
All right.
Uh-oh.
I'm ready with the timestamp. You can say it.
Uh-oh. They juiced Lon up so crazy in the beta. It's kind of insane all the changes they did to that character. Like when I go back to clearing Lon, I'm like, this might have been an actual bad character because when I played Uni 2, I was like, holy, this is how the character should have been. This is exactly how the
Yeah,
character should have existed.
it's pretty wild.
Like in tandem with the system mechanic changes, it changes itself to the character. Like combos are just more consistent. Like new routing has opened up, and it basically means if you get hit by this character, you're gonna get in the corner and you're gonna get frozen. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
every single
pretty
time.
much. Like we haven't even optimized. It looks like you can now do mid-screen freeze routing. Like second stage increase A-Rekka has so much untech. You can link a 6-6B, and his B fireball is faster by like
Ooh.
just a few frames, and so you get mid-screen freeze like without spending any resources. It looks like. So if we can optimize that, like literally, you will never not get frozen with this character. So yeah, he's absurd. He's so ridiculous, and like the bad combo off of 5BB, the bad one does like minimum 3.5 anywhere on screen.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. I was like, what the hell?
Andrew
That
McQuarter.
That combo also lets you get freeze OP now because you can pick up with 6-6B. What were they cooking, man? What were they cooking?
Yeah,
That's such
so
a crazy
this
change.
character is looking like absolutely ridiculous. And I think that like a lot of the things that were his strengths couldn't be as well applied when strike throw kind of went down the way it did. Now in this version, it's like his ability to make you guess on his spacing becomes so much more scary when you are like respecting him enough to let him just approach you for free. You know, like suddenly that feels so much worse. So yeah, he's he's feeling really good. And okay, there was a point when I was talking to Red about I can't remember what character he was bringing up as like super strong, and I was like, "You keep using this phrase, win more. What does that mean? Explain that to me." And you know, so he did, and you know, the gist of it is that you just stack your reward with even more momentum in some way. And Lond like is an example of a win more character now. Like he gets everything basically for free. He gets to like run a really good game plan off of like any touch for free, and then everything else is just extra. It's like, oh, if you guess correctly, then I'll just block string into 2-2C and like make you guess again. It's like it's really ignorant.
Yeah,
I can't believe you guys got this far and without mentioning the ice cream, the new move.
ice cream. Oh man.
Yeah, the Londrekia nail torrent is absolutely insane. Like
The bonkers move.
someone was asking me like, okay, so do you know if it like clashes with projectiles? And I was like, you know, I don't know how to answer that question because literally any situation that I used it in, I won the interaction. So yes, I'm gonna go with yes, I guess. Like, it doesn't even matter. I just win, you know? So on top of just being the most ridiculous neutral skip I think I've ever seen, just you apparently, I guess, just can't let him be anywhere around you, above you, or you'll be put in block stun. And the reward on hit is like 4.1, 4.2 if you have corner. Unoptimized beta combos. Like, this move is so ridiculous, and it also helps his OS game quite a bit because like if he can you know, do rising jump A or rising jump C and then cover it, like jump C on block into it, or whiff jump A and be like, oh, my A normal whiffed and you know, they're below me. Well, what do I do now? What do you think? Ice rain. So suddenly, like him just having access to 100 meter, if he uses a rising button OS, he's just out. He's just covered. So his defense actually indirectly gets rather buffed from having this air special available.
Yeah, I was playing against Defi in the beta, and like he would just do like up back in mid screen, and I'm like, oh, let me use my new shiny anti-air neutral move so I can hit him out of the air, and then he would just bait me jumping up and then just ice rain me and then kill me. What's the input on the ice rain, by the way?
J236 BC.
Okay.
When you're debuffed against this character in neutral, it's and he has 100-meter, you can't even like move. It feels like
that's how it
you have to
should
play
be.
a Kautsky neutral and just dash block the whole time.
Before it wasn't like that. One of the biggest changes that I mean, no one really plays this character, but if more people did, they'd be like, wow, this completely changes the character completely. And it's that he can now freeze like on hurt boxes. Like so
Oh,
now
yeah.
you can trade with Merkava 5C and then like actually get the freeze and just murder him. Like stuff like that is really crazy. But for Ice Raid, I was like, I thought this move was gonna be worthless. I was like, bruh, why he doesn't need this? Like, give him something, Then when I used it, I was like, oh, this actually covers a really weird spot for this character, and it's like behind him, because a lot of the time you're jumping over people, and sometimes you'll go over them, and it's just a very good move for covering that like behind you, and then also it's just it's a way better. Honestly, a way better full screen with Punish Tool than like 63C.
Yeah, so going back to inputs, so now Frozen Vine, instead of being 623C, it's 214B plus C.
Oh.
And you know what's so funny is like we're talking about like holes in this character's game plan totally getting plugged by like new moves or new mechanics for moves, and like all this reward he's getting, and on top of all of this, so he's like looking really good, could be like a really strong character, maybe even a high tier. He does not have a 623 input or a half circle input outside of IW. This character is all 214, 236. Bro, anyone can cook. Anyone can cook now.
They made him Ed Street Fighter 5.
Easy character, man.
And the 2-2 inputs. I think actually that kind of helps him do like EX Fireball maybe in neutral better. Just you don't have to worry about getting overlap input.
You can. I mean, I don't know why necessarily you would want to, but you can running Fireball without ever getting a DP with this character.
That's a bit stinky. Wait.
That's fine.
That's supposed to be a balance mechanic.
One thing I did realize about the Ice Rain though is that I'm pretty sure it's all projectile. So, like I did it in my matches against Defi, but he jumped up in Ice Rain, then I EX Yend, and I was able to just invuln through all of it. Because only like the first half is fully invuln, but the whole flip for EX Yend is projectile invuln.
That's all right. I can live with that.
So it does like the move is cracked, but I think in some matchups it is gonna be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't just let it rip all the time. So I think if like the move is definitely goated, but I think it's before people are like, launch broken, nerf this, like look at your character's options first,
No, I'm saying that.
Yeah, actually, listen, I changed my mind. Yeah, get him out.
You can do some obscene stuff to punish it. Like I've already seen a little bit of what Carp and Rook have thought up to like answer it, and it's like, oh man, well, it's not gonna be a definite answer for a lot of things, but it's still really good. Like, I'm pretty satisfied with it. I used it a lot more than I thought I would.
I don't like being taunted in neutral when I'm debuffed and the Landrakia player is just empty jumping at full screen.
Dude, okay, so yeah, I felt so troll having access to that move in just like the short time that I was using it. Yeah, I would just be like jumping around in neutral, like, hey, come to me, like.
Yeah. You guys haven't mentioned or sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna segue jumping around like an idiot to talking about my experience playing Batista.
Before we go to Batista, you guys haven't talked about the Icy Flowers, the new tutus.
Oh yeah, so the new, I mean, yeah, we could spend a whole lot of time just talking about the new 2.2 stuff because, like, for one, 2.2a is now, it takes a long time to fire, like 90 frames. And
Whoa.
so the immediate takeaway from that is that you can throw people into it. And when they have debuff on them, there is an additional flat 200 damage added on top of the damage from the Blossom. So it is like a separate stack that you only get from getting thrown while you're in debuff. So when you get thrown in debuff, the base damage from the throw into the Blossom is 2.2.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And
Insane.
if you get shimmied, like let's say I do
Oh
the
yeah,
Carmine thing. I
GG's.
walk towards you and I backdash. We didn't optimize it with any of the new routing, and we were getting like a little over 3.8. So we could
Oh,
definitely break 4K off that shimmy, and that's like free because we got that hidden neutral, and with the new routing, we brought you all the way to the corner for free setup, and then we popped that Blossom. It didn't cost us anything, and if you got shimmied, you're taking 4K. Now I could potentially, like, I'm definitely killing you in the next touch, you know? So his game plan is so rewarding that, like, it's like nobody's forcing your hand to play him in an unstable way necessarily, but your reward for getting the hit is so good that it almost feels like better to just shoot for the fences in neutral, because then when you get started, like, it's just so worth it, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like he just has like Carmine Ice Bomb now.
Yeah.
as if
Essentially.
Carmine needed to be power crept anymore.
I didn't think the later timing on 2.2a would make such a big difference, but it completely changed the character in such a positive way because it's just way easier to get that throw now. Like it's kind of hard to set up the meaty now, but like since it hits so late, like the new Oki, like end game Oki for this character is like do freeze 6B 6B and then like increase or not increase, and then there you go. You just keep looping that over and over. Like every time you hit him, you should just set that up, and
So
then
then does
I think as long as you have the proration for them to not ear tech, like we actually already have it. It's the increased 2.2a will cover delay tech, and you can like tick throw or throw them if they immediate tech, and increased 2.2b will meaty if they immediate tech, and you can use it for cross ups. So like that's so easy, you know. You just like you choose A if you want to strike throw, and you choose B if you want to left right, depending on how you think they'll tech.
so the
It's
normal 2.2s, those frame datas are unchanged, and the icy ones are the new ones, or
Yeah, so the frame data on like the startup and recovery of the old 2.2s, like obviously the startup is longer on 2.2a, but like all the recovery is the same. But the increased versions, I think they both take like overall, I think about 10 frames more to set up.
so they just
So
shoot
that
later?
yeah, they just shoot slightly later. So
Okay,
like in order of speed, it'd be like 2.2b, increase 2.2b, 2.2a, increase 2.2a.
gotcha.
But yeah, game changer for that character, absolutely.
characters just it's just a fiendish abomination now.
Mm.
Like all the buffs and this character is just enabled by the system mechanic changes. Like before you couldn't do long combos. Now if you're playing a character like Lon who has movie length combos, you're just gonna automatically win cycle when you hit somebody.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, like you're automatically gonna win, and no one talked about it a lot, but T2C extending freeze, just basically he's one of the only characters
Yeah.
in the game that can guarantee get celestial like free.
I saw
Like
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
he can give himself celestial. That is cheating, and not
it's
only
pretty
can he.
spicy. Yeah, we'll see if that stays. That was one thing that I put on my survey. I was like, guys, this might not be
Nah, they
intentional.
didn't do that.
Self-reported.
Yeah, I
Self-report.
self-reported, bro.
Even
No
if he
way.
can, even if he can't get like celestial anymore, he can get so many blocks of grid, and then also like stripping's gone, but no one talks about how getting hit by a VO removes 2 blocks from the opponent. So you'll be down, in the grid cycle, and you just let me do a freeze and a 2-2C grid charge, and then even at the end of that, you can 6B and then VO, and then it's just like, damn, I'm winning the cycle now. For what? All because I
Yeah.
hit you once. So he's
Yeah,
he
you
knows how to
know,
play Uni
what's
clear.
crazy too is like if you do that 2-2C sequence, after the 2-2C is done firing, you have enough time before they get off the ground and like after the freeze and 2-2C disappears to set another blossom.
Uh,
So you can actually like
Yippee!
do all of that grid steal and then get your OK afterwards too.
Is it time for Violond?
Yeah. Yep.
Wait, so 6B still steals grid?
Yeah,
It
not as
does,
much.
but yeah, universally all the characters, if they've got a grid steal move, it doesn't steal quite as
Yeah, it
much.
steals like half as like Londa or Gorda Sim steals half now, and then if he ends in the Mortal Slide Ender, it steals a fourth.
I still think it's important.
Does
though.
Frozen Vine steal grid?
Yeah, that still steals. I think it's like a half a block, just like
Okay.
6B.
They made like Byac Webs don't steal grid anymore, and also like Gord FF doesn't steal grid anymore at all.
Oh.
So having like any grid steal is pretty strong. Like Eldnum getting a full block when she reloads, I think is pretty insane.
It's broken.
Yeah.
I think
broken.
Eldum had a lot of the oversights in the beta. That one and the 6C air throw whiff thing, I think like they need to go back to development and adjust those things. I don't think they spent enough time balancing her for the beta with those two things
Yeah.
intact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
played
The
a
first
little bit.
time that I got like 6-6C counter hit 228, I was like, what? This,
Yeah.
what? Nutty?
yeah.
My head, man. I shook my head.
You can also
But,
do 6C and then whiff throw or whiff air throw and then land, and she's +1.
Yeah, that specifically, I think that's that and the reload grid gain. I think those are both just oversights. Or at least I hope so. I should have reported it in my survey.
Like
as
L
well,
canceling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to hold up too much on the long talk, but just one final word about one final summary about Lon. Lon's basically the Gridler in Uni 2. He like you're gonna see Foxov in tournament hit somebody, and he's gonna be calculating in his head like, what sequence do I do to rob this poor fella of his cycle? Because that's what the
Yes.
character is.
Yes.
He's either gonna rob you of cycle or he's gonna put you in an obscene left-right strike throw situation where the shimmy you're either eating 2.5 most of the time or like or plus 4K like you're dying. So character's gonna and then he's easy. He's brain dead easy. All of his confirms are easy now. Like that's an easy top tier character. Once people actually start playing him, because no one plays him, but when people get their hands on him, they're gonna be like, wait a minute.
Yeah, man. I think we're gonna see some more Lon players. I'm pretty sure.
Finally. Bless the heavens. But now I want to hear your thoughts about Vat, because honestly, I thought Vat was.
Well, I
feels
think before
weird
we
to
hear
say
thoughts
Vat
about
was
that,
fair.
I think before you hear thoughts about that, we should let Garm talk about his experiences with Hyde
Huh?
and Mika.
Oh.
Definitely.
Sure. I mean, I'll defer to Defiant on Hyde. I think the character just feels good. Feels good now. Feels great. Would you agree, Defiant?
I think they made Hyde brain dead. Yeah, they made him brain dead. He is gonna be so broken, man. He's gonna be so.
Oh, play the
broken.
clip. Timestamp it.
What's the what makes him so brain dead?
All this comp way good. You know, take it away, Garb.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you don't
everything
have
just
to-
works on this character now. You don't have to worry about combo consistency. Hyde, like in the current version of Uni, there's like, you think of some Hyde players as he just does stuff. But now I feel like Hyde is really good at doing stuff, and yeah, also he benefits a lot from the Celestial mechanic. I don't know how it will settle with like Hyde being a grid feeder character yet, because I didn't get to play against like that many strong players, and the meta has yet to develop and all of that. But he's the best character at cashing out Celestial, right? Because he has a combo Infinite Worth. Also, this new 2FF button is it's great.
This new 2FF button.
People misjudged it. I think people look at it and they're like, "Oh, Hyde has a new fireball," but what it really is like it's a block string button. I feel like with fireball usage, because it frame traps into his best starters, which is absurd. Like his special cancelable into 2-2B. Oh, this character. I think right now this character looks really good.
Yeah, you said his 2FF is like, you said it's like, is +2 on block, or like it spaces into a plus orbiter or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
I got it.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I got mashed on by a high 2FF where it deleted my Carbine 6B, and then I got hit by the projectile, and I wanted to just go back to Uniclear immediately.
I mean, cope.
How many
I don't
users
know.
have
You've been winning all clear with that 6B, but now you just have to hold that. I don't know. It's my turn now.
Is it two hits then?
I think so. I think what it is the startup trades with other projectiles, and then the
Yeah.
follow up is a different projectile.
Mm.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's 2 hits. You have the sword hit, which deletes, and then the other hit, which is an actual projectile. So honestly, like, let's be real here. Hyde had a broken ass fireball, so I don't really see why he needed another fireball. But it does have its
Agreed.
use. It does have a use in that it lets him do more gapless stuff, gapless pressure, more spaced out plus frames. But obviously it's there. It's very good for anti fireball stuff. Like feels good. Like say you're in a spaced out situation against Akatsuki, where most of the time you just lose. You just lose because Akatsuki's fireball's broken, and now you just increase 2FF, delete through the first fireball, and then delete through an EX fireball, and just go. So it's good on that, but nah, I think they did too much. They give him a little too much. He's the character that people thought Hyde was before is like real. Is
Yeah.
definitely
That's
real.
so funny because like
Is real. now.
that exact comparison, that exact phrase I heard about Nanase, like this is now the character that you thought that she was in Clear.
That is cap. Nanase's always.
Nanase has been that character. I don't
Nanase
know.
has
He always
been
was been that character.
Hyde has so
Always
many
has been.
consistency
Tough
problems
PNG.
and Clear. He has so many consistency problems, and a lot of his frame data was a little strange, and the stagger and stuff like that. But now none of that exists. So
Yeah. Defiant hasn't found a way to complain about Hyde, so that's how I know this character is just nuts.
It wasn't
I
very
think-
fun to play him because it just felt like I'm playing the same character, but it's just everything's
Mhm.
given to you. It's so good. His Rekka, like combo frames are so good that you can get up and twerk and then sit
Right,
back
that
down
never
and-
drops now. It
and,
feels
and,
like.
and dash. You can dash 2C in his combos. It's absurd. Like he's gonna have
Mhm.
some insane routing, but
You know, I'm honestly glad
Uh,
for that because I feel like if you're gonna have a poster boy like the protagonist of your franchise, like maybe making a strict Rekka string part of their BNB might not be the appeal. You know?
Yeah.
no,
So
it made sense.
But
Like
it's so sick.
Hyde is like so cheap. He's such a cheap character, but they gated his cheapness like behind like him being a little strange. But now he's really not anymore because fixed up the frame data, they fixed up the hurt boxes, they fixed up moves working not the way they were supposed to, like 6B like consistent move, and it's -5 on block. Like I don't think
Oh yeah,
I don't
6B
think he
being
needed
-5 is
that.
crazy.
Yeah, the huge
Characters
change.
having these flaws make them more interesting. I think the combo consistency thing needed to happen, but you didn't need to make B-Rekka absolutely baby brain dead to pick up off of in every single combo. It's like, damn, I spent hours and hours practicing my micro dashes, and now it's like, dang, I can really just, I mean, it makes everything's easier. So, I mean, I
This
like
is probably how boomers feel, right? Like it's so easy for
100%.
kids these days.
Do you even have to delay the B-Records anymore, or do you still have to?
You do
have
like
to.
vaguely.
But you don't have to
You
do
know?
it. You don't have to do them good. You can just do them like sloppy, and it'll get you the same
Yeah.
stuff. Which is like that's good for beginner. All these changes are good for beginners because it makes them so much easier to get into. So more people's gonna play them. But like I think when the competitive scene gets rearing, like we're gonna see a lot of this character, we're gonna get so annoyed, bro. He's just gonna tweak on you with his broken normals and broken damage, and now he has 2A stagger too. And it's like,
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
right.
I'm already annoyed,
And
man.
I didn't even get to play around with a 4AA change, but that's gonna be really good on Hyde too, I think.
yeah. Like I don't know, man. At this point, I'm gonna play both of them because Hyde's broken. Hyde gonna give me free wins sometimes.
Mhm.
That's how broken.
Fool's character.
Both of those characters are like minimum like top 8, both of them, because they're just one does obscene damage and has obscene buttons and a combo throw and a combo IW, and the other one just
Does obscene damage, has
wins
obscene buttons.
grid, obscene buttons. He's more the grid monster, like a Oki monster, and then Hyde's more like neutral, strike throw, get god basically. So
One of the things that stood out to me the most when I was playing Hyde was the Rekka change and the 2-8 change, but also Bend. Just like
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
whole
yeah,
big
DBFZ
bend.
It
What is that?
tracks.
see.
Wait, what? All right, I feel like I'm the only person who didn't see this. What happened?
they turned it into like DBFZ Vanish. I feel like it tracks you from everywhere.
Yeah, it
BB
tracks
tag
you.
Ben. It's BB tag Ben.
They made Rekka better.
That's
They
crazy.
made Ben better. Yeah, it is like BB tag bed light.
It's
Wait,
the
can
scene.
your bend go ahead of your projectile and then use it to be plus?
Christ, it felt like it hit me
I
from
think
another
so.
monitor when I was playing neutral against him. I was like jumping and I was clearing the projectile and I got hit from like a different screen by Bend coming in on me. It was just
Foxum. It's so evil that halfway across the screen, if they block 2FF, you can just go into B fireball and bend, and it's probably gonna air blockable them all the way across.
Yeah, I was watching Mark Fermat play casual net play, and he was just bending from one end of the screen to the other, just like laughing his ass off. Oh, this Hyde character, man, he's gonna be a problem, I think.
Yeah, they
He can also Rekka you from one end of the corner to the other, like with a Rekka loop.
Yep.
For Rekka loop. What?
With a Rekka loop.
Oh.
B-Man posted that like day one of the beta. He just looped like 20 Rekkas into each
Wow.
other.
Everybody was listening to me, Garm, and not you, man. He heard my
Yeah, I think
downplay,
so.
and
no,
took
he was
it-
listening to Mark for Mode.
He took it too far. He took it too far. Oh, also,
you
EX Pogo
downplay
tucks
too
in
much.
now. EX
Oh
Pogo-
yeah, it has a vacuum effect.
That is crazy too.
It picks up so easily now. Yeah.
I think that's nice. Definitely nice for him to have because, like, I'm a Hyde hater, but seeing a Hyde drop like the EX Ender, I'm just like, man, that sucks.
The
Alright,
ADP
alright.
and the CPOGO is gonna be more consistent. Go ahead, Fox.
Garm, what's going on with this Mika character?
I
Uh-oh.
feel like we expected Mika to like keep all of her strengths, and she kind of didn't. But I don't feel too bad about her. She feels really nice to play now. It remains to be seen whether or not like, because I didn't get to lab it, but it just feels like the EX missile pressure reset is going to lose the role unless something is discovered to counterplay that. And then her A button frame data being normalized from -1 to -2, and her 360 also
yeah.
being normalized to 5-frame startup. Those like on paper feel bad, I think, but the character does have a lot of potential, I think.
One thing I want to say really quickly about the 360 startup. So you in Uni 2, EX flashes are no longer frame 1. It seems like they're about frame 3. There's some few instances. It happened while I was playing. I also saw some footage from the Paris demo where people tried to do EX moves and it made the noise and it took their meter and there was no EX flash. And it was on offline gameplay,
Yep,
so it
yep.
wasn't just rollback. So I think they did that because like of the 2-button supers now,
okay.
so you can like car it into them, and so you get the right input. But yeah, EX flashes are no longer frame 1. It seems like they're like frame 3. So I think for Mika 360, they changed the startup just because that's like the time of the new before the EX flash happens. So
Uh-huh.
I haven't confirmed this. I didn't do any testing on it, but I'm assuming the reaction time after the flash will be the same as it is in clear. It's just the startup frame data. Like I guess it'll be
Okay.
different for punishes. That's about it.
I think this character still has, she could still potentially be quite good. This 2FF button is really funny. I was playing some Mika mirrors and I would press 2FF and it would hop over the other Mika's dash speed, and she would go past me, and I would still hit her, and it would crumple and give me a combo.
Oh, it crumples.
Yeah, it crumples. At least on counter hit. So yeah, I think this character. I'm still gonna be playing this character. I think.
I saw a lot of people talking about, or I saw a Twitter post with her frame data changes, and a lot of her stuff got worse on block, and it seems like there's like her 5B and another C button got less stagger. So
Yeah.
does that? And I know she has like, but she has big stagger on her new 2-2. So how does that?
I didn't
out?
play around too much with her 2-2. I don't really feel the stagger changes that much. I'll be honest. So I don't think it'll be too bad. What else? Oh, she can EX whiff cancel her her missile as it like gets close to the ground now. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's sort of like it's kind of like how high landing Rekka can be whiff canceled into like EX Orbiter or CVO. So Mika can, do a very precise missile, land, and then 360.
Garv, I think actually one of the first times that we played, you did a full high Rekka on whiff into Palebringer, and I got hit, and I was like, yeah, all right, you got me.
Yeah, I like things like that. So I'll have to play around with that on Mika.
Yo, whiffing missile down into their face and then going for grab.
Yeah.
The elder abuse mix up.
I also do think like she benefits a lot from roll still, being in the game, and I do believe 214 will catch roll, right? So there's potential in that as well.
I think she also has a top tier roll animation. Hers looks really fun.
Yeah, it's so sick. She does like a little twirl. Mika's cool.
Oh wait, that her 214 is probably gonna whiff on the airborne command grabs, isn't it? Or the airborne rolls.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
That's unlucky.
Her 214 has a lot of active frames, so maybe no.
Oh, okay.
Maybe let's catch them. Like,
what if it's a blessing in disguise and she whiffs the 214 and still has time to 66B?
Or 360.
Or 360, yeah.
Wait, can you whiff cancel for 214s?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not.
That's a new OS 214X into 360.
Probably not, but they don't have a ton of whiff recovery, and the roll is like a 40 something frame duration move, so maybe you'll just get blessed,
Yeah, because currently, like, whiff 214 to side switch is like a pseudo mix-up for Mika.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely been hit by that. Absolutely.
We've all been hit by that.
Yeah, I'm like, man, should have delayed tech.
Yeah.
I actually think Mika's 2-2s are really good and solve a big issue with the character. Like I was when I was in my lonesome and I queued up ranked, I was trying like characters that I played before, like Mika and Eltnum and Photon. And luckily, like the first person I got to play with my Mika was a Hyde player. So I was like, okay, let's see how this changes stuff. And like 2-2ing through fireballs is really nice.
It's projectile involved?
Yeah.
Oh, what's
that? It's her anti-projectile move. That's literally what Mika needed.
Isn't that tornado?
Yeah, she already has one.
It's not tornado because you have to do the
tornado only. Yeah, tornado only has the projectile invul on the follow-up that brings her in the air. Source getting bopped by Mika in the VAT matchup.
So you got to gamble with the follow-up on projectiles. You have to overcommit, I guess. On it.
Overcommit and gimp.
And then EX
It's
missile.
fine BB and
Sometimes
tornado
it works.
follow.
So Waldstein too, I was like so surprised when I tried out God Press. I was like, okay, I do need a little bit of a gap. Like I need to shield hide force function, for example, before I can God Press in between that and a orbiter. So like, it's still like a significant enough gap, but being able to just meterlessly be like, no, I don't feel like holding this projectile is like hilarious. I love it.
Her tutus are like, there's like a big stagger, but the first one is like safe on block, or how do they work? Do you know, Defi?
They're like relatively safe, but you have to account for shield in the game and stuff. So like you're probably
Right.
gonna get like shielded and then like die because it's like safe, but not really that safe. So I don't know, but
It has a lot of range though, right? You can space it out.
yeah, you can space it out. It's Mika's Deuce pretty much safe on block, pressure ender. It's kind of nice. I think it's a good thing. I do not like the stagger changes though, because when I played Mika, I would get down and dirty. I'm going to the last. I'm doing the craziest 5B in the 5C frame trap of my life, and you can't do that anymore. So it's like, damn, that was kind of I don't know. It's not it's not gonna like kill her, but I think that was a big important thing of the character is that she had obscenely large stagger windows because she's like a rushed out character. Like, why does Wagner get to keep her all of her staggers, but like a character like Mika can't? I don't know.
My
Smart.
biggest confusion with the frame data was when they made Mika 2C -10.
Why? Like, why?
When I'm pretty sure it's -5 in clear.
It's the Ohito tier list.
Yeah.
It's gotta be. It's gotta
Yeah.
be.
They did too
Well,
much. They
I
did some
think
crazy
2C
stuff.
is like a really important button for Mika's pressure because it moves her forward like by a lot. So letting her just like no cancel it without as much risk is not great. But
They
yeah, I
said
don't think it needs to be
that
-10.
you were going to 2C no cancel throw, and we just really wanted to be sure that you didn't accidentally get a gold throw. So yeah, there you go.
Foxes, do you want to talk about Batista now?
Yeah, so I will admit I did not play Batista nonstop during the beta. Like I only pulled her out a little bit. Like I played about 10 games against Red and about like 15-20 with Pinku, and my impression of the character was still like, yeah, this is still Batista. Gems are still super good. Like, yeah, there's a little more nuance now, but like this character is still cooking, you know? And I think all the more her reward for getting to the corner is feels good for a character that generally speaking has a really hard time with corner carry. Like people don't bring it up very much, but that is a genuine flaw of Batista. Is she gets huge carry but not much damage when she does B drill mid screen. It gets you to the corner, gets the rest of your game plan set up. But if you get a good stable hit, your corner carry on it is not very good. Or if it is, then your Oki is not very good after it. So it feels all the more rewarding now to get them to the corner, either because you did like a good structured approach in your offense, or because you did some kind of corner carry routing, or you got a B drill. Once you're there, corner plus disco ball equals party. Like we all saw it coming, like, but it's really good. She gets to basically do long 2-2C, but twice. And the like day one setup for it is just going to be 2 BBB ender, disco, meaty B drill. And if you block the meaty B drill again. If you like fully delay your wake up, you can catch her with some DPs still as the lasers are firing, but she's VO safe. So if you delay your wake up, she just whiffs it and then she just does it again. So it's a little silly. Like her offense has always been like one of the hardest parts of playing the character. Like structuring your offense well as that is actually like it's the lab endeavor, you know. It's not always easy. So now that that part is easier and neutral is a little bit harder, I think it's interesting. That's just me.
I was surprised at how big her 5cc is.
Yeah, it's really big, and like for the speed for the range that it covers is really good. And it used to be that like it was that way, but then you wouldn't get much off of it. Like the exception is if you use it to detonate a gem, then you get a good reward, but that was it. Now touching it to your opponent is like always guaranteeing you decent damage. And if you get a counter hit, like okay, for example, against Hyde, one of the round start RPS things is if you 5C, it beats his 2-2A. And, you know, Hyde's love, especially like round 2, 2-2A, 2-3-6C. So if you press 5C now, round start against Hyde, you get that counter hit. You get like really good corner carry and like 3.2K. Like you get a full combo. And that was never the case. It was always like I'm going to stick my neck out button unless you had a gem to detonate. And now it's just like always rewarding.
How do you
So-
convert off the 5cc hit?
So 5cc b-ball is like always going to be guaranteed because the
Okay.
5cc will like crumple them, and that causes the b-ball to connect. And
Okay.
at round start range, like when you have that pushback and counter hit, then you can connect dash up 6-6C and go from there. So yeah, the reward off that button is now really, really good. So I mean, definitely her mid-range got worse in some respects, but a lot better and more intuitive in others. I can't remember what character we were talking about earlier, where someone said like it feels a little bit like they became a little less weird and a lot easier to use, and like that's definitely her. You know, I mean, she's getting really good damage off of just almost anything now, but obviously she can't like camp in neutral the way that she used to. The three things basically that seem really good are this 5cc. Adriel is now a full combo on hit. Like any hit of Adriel you get touched by, she gets a full rep. So
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
that's huge. And also Assault can now be performed with 9D, which means that she can do a block string or like do a no cancel and do like up back assault or like up forward assault, and she will always have that charge for Adriel, no need for partitioning at all.
Oh.
And if you get hit, then you take like well over 3K. Like
Oh no.
it's good. And if you block, she's +2 unless you shielded the last hit. Like, you know, clearly.
Go back.
Another shield minigame to learn.
Yeah, so she's got 5cc, she's got this Adriel that she can now do like a lot more. And finally her barrier now has like cancel window throughout. It used to be you could only cancel like the early startup of it into a special move. Now it's like the entire thing. You can cancel it whenever you want. So there's more of a mind game. Like before, in this version, some characters, if they see her put the barrier out, they can basically like option select something. Like Linne does force function, and if it was a laser, she rolls it and gets punished. And if it was a ball, it just whiffs, you know. And she like doesn't really lose anything for OSing it, if that makes any sense, you know. So now it's like the guessing game lasts the entire duration. So it's stronger in that sense, and it really looks like they want you to use this barrier pretty badly because like it also starts up just slightly quicker. Like they definitely want you to use this a lot in neutral.
Hmm.
Anyways, she's still cooking. Like TLDNR, she's still cooking. It's like she's cooking a different way, and you can't be as lame. But if you plan smart approaches and like you know play your neutral well, the reward is pretty easy to run offense. Like buffed assault normals, like assault JB is hitting directly below her now. You know it's easier to like dash in when there's a gem on them and bait an OS and get a huge OS crush for like big reward. Like so it's just easier to play her on a fundamental level. outside of gem camping.
Does the disco ball hit the entire screen?
So if you plant it like when they're full screen, uh, it's weird. It'll hit like a little bit behind them and in front of them. So if they move forward, um, unless they move forward and also jump, they probably still get put in block stun. So in that sense, it's kind of more threatening than C-ball. Like
Right. Yeah.
C-ball is still funny, but it starts up. It seems like a little bit slower. And like it's always been a funny like little delete neutral spell, but I think that Disco may be actually better at putting on more pressure from full screen immediately against characters like Hilda or Chaos or Yuzu.
Yeah, I was playing against a Batista player and they did 5cc into disco ball and then like they just started coming towards me and I was getting like Hilda Gloom flashbacks. I was like, wait, no. Please don't do this to me.
Yeah, I mean, granted, that's probably like, if I'm doing my math right, that should be -15 about. So it's still like a pretty spooky cancel, but maybe from over there it doesn't matter. You know,
Right.
they just put it on you and are like, "We'll do something. I'm coming in now." You know.
How did the her being counter hit affect your like decision making and how you approach playing the character?
So I definitely did get counter hit anti-aired into a full combo a few times. So it was enough for me to have to acknowledge that it exists.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't make as much of a difference as I thought it would in some places. Like, for example, one of them was I thought that now when Batista uses levitate, that if you hit her while she's levitating, you would get a counter hit. But not so much. They actually removed that from Hilda and Batista from their levitate moves. But Merkava still gets counter hit while he's flying. I don't know why the favoritism there, but you can actually still like meme levitate at the top of the screen and get anti-aired by high 3C, and then he just like you tech in a random direction, he gets nothing. That actually still happens, and I was like, huh, okay. But yeah, and in other respects, you notice it, but from the VAT perspective, like no, it's not actually changing my game plan at all. Like I'm still doing what I'm doing.
What about gems being deleted by A buttons?
That
Or any
that
button?
definitely changes things. The A buttons thing doesn't matter. Like not really, not usually. Um, the thing that really matters is getting your gems swatted by fireballs and having to play around that. Hide 2FF, catching the high gem placement, unless you like jump in the air and manually place it even higher than that, is like, ooh, you know? So in some matchups, it does feel like they said, gems? No, that's what barrier is for, you know? Like, so yeah, they're pushing you towards using barrier more in those situations in neutral. It definitely does make a difference, and kind of as I expected, air gem sets feel a lot more threatening than gems on the ground because, like, generally speaking, you have to make more of a commitment to go up there and get rid of them, just like Seth Orb, you know.
Yeah.
So, and you can still like flash kick them, so if they're in the air, so you know some things never change.
What about you said you played Redblade a lot. What about Wagner? How do you feel about that character? I didn't get the opportunity
Oh
to play against
man,
Wagner much at all, but I've heard
Wagner is as juiced as you've heard. Like
Mm.
it's really crazy. Specifically Landrekio Wagner, I was gonna agree with Defiant way earlier in our discussion. I think even before we went live. I agree that I think that matchup used to be a little bit in Landrekio's favor, and now with Wagner's new tools, it feels like a little more even. Specifically, her Change the Future move, 66FF, is really good. I mean, so the downside to it is that it recovers a little slow. So like if I walk away round start and she whiffs it, I feel like I can whiff punish her like without too much difficulty, you know. Um, but Wagner used to be that character that you could just abuse the hell out of J3B on. You know, like Lon J3B, it was like flat out the best matchup to use it in. And now with Change of the Future, it's more of a risk. Like when we're both like running at each other, this happened to me so many times. Like I see the Wagner player running in from full screen, and I'm like, yeah, I'm also going to run in. Let's joust. And then I do J3B, and they do 6-6C, and I just own them. Now, if I see them running at me, I'm like a little nervous. I'm like, are they gonna try and change my future here? Like, because so there's more nuance to the matchup in that sense, and I like that. Like, I think I had a great time playing the matchup. It felt so much more satisfying too to be able to run Blossom Oki that did not as easily lose to delayed wake up timings. Like being able to set increase 2-2A, wait for that wake up, and then still threaten strike throw, and like get the shimmy on it. Like
Yeah.
that's sick. It feels so much more rewarding to get the knockdown as Lond in that matchup. And to not specifically try to play lame all the time in it. You're both going for each other's throats, and it's like, in that sense, it's pretty high speed. It's pretty fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, whenever I played Wagner Aurier, for example, that was definitely a matchup where I abused up back J214A the most. You would just play outside of her range and up back Thanatos, and she didn't really have a lot of options to interact with that. But now that she has changed the future, it kind of changes the geometry of how you play neutral against the character. You have to like, I unfortunately didn't get to play any Wagners, but I'm kind of scared to to play one in the next
Yeah, I
pitch. I'm
mean,
gonna get exposed.
I think being a little bit worried about Wagner is appropriate at this point in time because these system changes benefit her so much, and her 2-2C buff. For those who don't know, you can now continue it as it no longer hits them and then ends the combo automatically. You can use it as a combo extender. You can Adriel 2-2C, and that's your combo starter. So and you can do things like double burn routes. So they are taking a little over 2K just in chip once they get off the ground. Like, there's so much about the things in like Wagner's identity that makes her a unique character that got fleshed out, in my opinion. Like, I thought burn stuff was always the coolest part of the character.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
now, like, buff management and like planning your routing around like what kind of ender you want to do, if you want to do like a 2-2C ender, and if you're going for burn or not, like decisions like that are so interesting. And now she's got more of that, way more of that than ever before. So I think she's just like a cooler character at a baseline. Like at a baseline, she's more interesting. But if you had a hard time playing against Wagner in the past, like that's not going to change. She is like as good as she ever was. She's definitely the best version of herself.
Yeah, I always felt like one of the best ways to play the character in Clear now is more of a defensive style, and playing for like a neutral. It's hard for her to interact with characters that can abuse up back very much or a ton. So a lot of the ways she would get a hit is by using her really good mash frame data and leveraging that into a strong turn, and then returning back to crouch dash block, leveraging good frame data to make it such that you can't run an effective turn against her. But her being able to have like Adriel 2-2C or change the future into a confirm or and other stuff like that can make her neutral seem a bit more dynamic and more interesting. There's a local, I have a local Hilda player or a local Wagner player. Sorry to continue a bit more. That like has been really struggling to like understand how to play the character because you can't just dash block all the time in neutral, and runs into like Hilda or Phonon, and they just up back against him all the time, and he doesn't really understand how to close the gap and leverage that offense. But now that Wagner has more options to interact in neutral, I think that'll make the character way more interesting to play against.
Honestly, yeah. The only thing I have to knock with Wagner neutral now, we hadn't talked about it. So I had mentioned Defendo. I was like, isn't it weird that all these other characters can CS their dive kick on whiff and Wagner can't.
Oh yeah, I saw
And
that.
as if reading my tweet, Kimone was like, "Well, here you go." So now her special dive kick series, like her air drills, were pretty good before, but they were just like kind of weirdly committal that you couldn't, cancel them on whiff or anything like that. Now they are so good. Like the hitbox is so ignorant; it confirms so easily to like a full combo's worth of damage without any resources. That it's like you should just do this. It's a why not option, especially with CS. It's just like, do I need to close neutral? Why not? Let's do it. Do I need to take my turn back on defense? Why not? Like this thing is huge. How can it miss? And this, with CS, I'm gonna be fine. So that is pretty ignorant. Um, that's the only thing I can really detract from the Wagner equation is like, that's pretty stupid. That's actually pretty ignorant.
I can't think of any other characters I tried extensively or watched a lot of. in
Garum,
the
you
beta.
talked about Hyde and Mika. Was there another character you played?
Oh yeah, I played a little bit of Phonon, but I feel like probably Silent has a lot more to say about that character than I do. Just overall impressions are that install is quite good. Um, her dash buff is really like her being faster feels really good, and also this increased jump V button. Like, I don't know, I don't know why they put that in the game, but I'm so glad. It just feels like it completes her like jumping in the air and being a nuisance. It's really annoying. It's like the red light. Um,
Or
so
walk
I'm
speed
I'm
too.
yeah, her
Yeah.
walk speed as well. Arya posted like a Twitter video of like the comparison, I believe, or maybe it was a different Phonon player, but she walks so much faster now, and that was like one of the things that really kept me away from like fully committing to Phonon was I can't just walk back, press some ignorant button, and wait for someone to walk into it. But now it feels like that's kind of available to her, even though she's not the best at it. Um, just ending on like a button that's kind of minus, but then threatening the walk back so that people can't really commit
hmm
to forcing you to block or hitting you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lid, what about Lene?
Yeah, what about Lene left?
Yeah, I can definitely talk about Lene. I think she's very good. I made a whole video talking about my thoughts on the moves. For like more details, so I won't go on for super long. But I think one thing that's really important about her changes is, and then I'll get into the new moves, is this. So now she has the stagger on 4A. She has a stagger window on 6B, a big stagger window. And she can now stagger her 2A. So she doesn't have to go into 2AA just to do a stagger now.
Yo, I had
so-
wait, is the first hit low?
No. That would be insane, but no. The first hit's still a mid, but that essentially gives her 3 new staggers in her pressure. And like I was saying earlier, I was spamming 4AA. My whole pressure was just 4AA and 6B stagger. I would just do 6B, no cancel, dash up throw. 6B is like -4, I want to say, on block. So like it made her pressure feel really strong. I think Lene obviously has a great strike throw. I think it's pretty buffed on delay based netcode. So I will be honest that like with a rollback, I was a little worried about her offense being strong enough to open people up, but with the new stagger windows and then the nerfed offense, in a really good spot. Also, she has a good fast enough backdash to punish throw attempts, so she can shimmy with throw and VO. Her new moves also fill in some gaps, which are very good. Lene kind of lacks a good reward anti-air, and up back is really good against her. 6-6 FF pretty much solves those options. You can't do it from standing, so it's not like she has a new throw OS that just deletes you, but 6-6 FF in neutral is really good. It's also pretty strong on pressure. 66FF into Akuga is
Yeah,
a frame
looks
trap.
really funny.
It's a frame
Yeah.
I was
trap.
getting grief by that like 20 games in a row.
I was getting grief by 66FF whiff and neutral to double jump into 5 other air options, and
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Ridiculous.
6FF is pretty great. It's also a 11 frame option, which is nice. Linne 2C also now 11 frames
you-
instead of 12 frames, which is nice because Linne has like 4 12 frame options. So then and like 0 11 frames. So now that she has some, is nice. But yeah, 66FF, still special cancelable on shield. So even if they shield, the Akuga still frame traps and you're plus on block. The Akuga does whiff on a few crouchers, so you have to keep that in mind. But it hits the large majority of the cast. And then you're in your face and you're plus. Also, like you were saying, Pesto, you can do it on whiff. So Linne can like jump into the air, and being in the air is good for her, right? Because she has lots of air options. But 66FF lets her enter the air while putting out a hitbox. Which is, a pretty good spot for her to be in. Something that's cool too is you can actually whiff cancel the uppercut with EX moves.
Oh.
So you can do 66FF into EX Kuga, and it's a very safe and quick way to get diagonal EX Kuga out onto the screen, which is a really good move. I actually did 66FF over a Batista laser and then canceled it into EX Kuga, and then just ran up and full comboed.
I didn't think they could grief Ori. I didn't think they could power creep Ori a force function, but I guess they did.
Yeah,
crazy.
even on whiff, you just recover fully in the air, and you can just do whatever. It's also has a shit ton of hit stun on hit, so you can hit confirm super easily. Her other new force function, the Kuga follow-up,
Ugh,
is pretty silly. It's
so dumb.
So at some range, it kind of depends on the range of the Kuga, if it's gapless or not, if there's a frame trap. But it essentially gives her a way to keep pressuring the opponent after Kuga, which is really strong because Linne's footsie game is really good. And after you block a Kuga, you're kind of like, okay, now I can, Linne, I can at least take some ground or try and contest or something like that. Kuga is like a solid sign of her pressure where you were supposed to interact, like that was your chance to do something. So Kuga follow-up can lock you down and prevent you from doing things, and also really helps the shield mine games because they removed her roll cancels on her normals, so you can't roll cancel 5C or 2C to grab a green shield at long distance. So people will try to shield the Kuga follow-up, and you just Kuga dash instead, and then you throw their shield in their face, and it's great.
It's the screw you if you're a 6-framer interaction.
Yes. Also, Kuga.
Yeah, I'm gonna get cooked by the Kuga follow-up and the dive kick. I just know it.
Yeah, I don't know if I said it, but Kuga follow-up is almost, from my testing, almost always 0 on block. I really don't know why it's 0 on block. Also,
please make it -1.
So mid-screen, it goes through your opponent on block, which I think makes it fantastic pressure reset with Kuga follow-up CS, because you can sideswap combo. You can sideswap during a block string, which is really strong if you're mashing out of the corner. But in terms of resetting pressure with it, mid-screen, there's a throw RPS where you're point blank with your opponent. They can throw you if you try to press a 5-frame button or anything. It's very similar to neutral CS RPS. But if your opponent's in the corner, they block Kuga follow-up, you get spaced out of throw range into the perfect range for Linne 5A. And if your opponent is a 6-frame character, they just can't really interact. They'd really
and then I shield it, and you're -3, and you DP me. I see how it is.
Even worse, you green shield the Kuga, and they just Kuga dash throw you, and then you're just like, why did I even boot up internet today?
Yeah, and
what is this?
In my opinion, one of Linne's weaknesses is her pressure was very reactive, so she would go for a quick strike throw, very quick pressure sequences. But this kind of enhances her ability to fridge and just lock you down, which I think is going to be really good in Uni 2, because as we were saying, defense is weaker, right? So it's going to be harder to get out. So I think the new moves and Linnea's new stagger pressure, everything's looking really good. Oh, also EX Hien. So we talked about it last time, but it definitely is like -8 on block. Oh, I punished it with Gord 2B, which I want to say is like a frame
Let's
9
go.
move.
Ooh.
And obviously counter hit recovery, so it's definitely slower or more recovery on block. But what is funny is that it's faster and it moves faster. So like I was calling it like a sniper during the beta because Linnea would just like zoom across the screen during the EXEN.
Honestly, I'm really glad that they seem to like semi-universally have just like buffed all projectile invul moves to like move a little faster, be a little more consistent. Like walled C God press is moving now. Like, and I really like that because there were some like Nanase C Sword Car was like the gold standard, and then everything below that was like, it'll work sometimes, you know. It seems like all the projectile invul EX moves are like getting some love. I like that.
And then I think I don't know if it's because it moves faster or what, but like I was also getting hit out of it. Like if I did it at the wrong timing and it wasn't a projectile, I was getting hit out of it quite a bit. So honestly, if you ask me, I think the new EXEN is like perfect balancing where it's like the move is good at what it's supposed to do, and you get a combo for punishing a fireball or getting a read on a fireball or just doing it in reaction to an air or a projectile EX move like the Lond Ice Rain. But it won't be as strong to just randomly throw out. Which I think is good. Also, it being faster is nice for doing it out of CS block strings, because if I CS through a Byakuya 2B, I'll just EXEN and full combo him, which is already possible in clear, but it just helps it being faster.
Friendship ended with this new version of CN. Never mind. You can take it back.
It is also really nice having the Hiens on 2-2. I during the beta I did not miss doing half circles every combo. I really did not. It's nice to not have to do combos in the uni input engine, or to do half circles in the uni input engine. I said I'd keep it short. I rambled for a long time. I apologize. But
that's good rambles. I liked it.
Yeah, I think it's hard to judge relative to the other cast because I'm not super familiar with what everyone else got. But I think they filled some of Linnea's holes and they made some of the things that she does even better. So I think she's looking pretty good.
You know, when I was playing against Nephros, I felt like the matchup somehow felt even worse in Uni 2 than it did in Clear. So I'm sure Linnea's just as good or even better than she always has been. Particularly because the Kuga follow-up is
oh yeah, I was like
frame hell scenario.
The whole beta, I never got Celestial. I was losing cycles. I was just spamming the new moves. I was like, this is too fun.
Yeah. Please make it -1, please. I'm begging anybody.
Yeah, I can definitely see that getting changed. I think the corner interaction is really dumb. It's like a right outside of throw range and perfect 5A range. It's really silly.
Landrakia kind of has a similar interaction with 6-framers where if you shield his third stage A-Rekka, it has enough pushback out of the corner that you need to do like a frame perfectly buffered dash throw as a 6-frame character to actually punish it. Yeah. Yeah, so that actually, as far as I know, did not change. That's also still toxic.
Are there any other characters people want to comment on?
I think Tsurugi looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah, the new characters.
Yeah, I didn't really play him as much as I wanted to because Carmine was just so powerful. I didn't want to really play anybody else. But the shield force function looks pretty cool. I just feel like aesthetically he looks sick. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
Skateboarding mood's pretty cool. And I'm a big fan. I think the character has potential to be pretty strong. He feels kind of bare bones it doesn't seem like there's a lot of sauce, but the foundation for a fundamentally solid character looks like it's there, I think.
Yeah, I think he could have some sauce because like every different Tsurugi I saw was doing a different B&B. So I'm like, okay, I don't know where we're gonna end up, but hopefully it's cool.
When I figured out how to do the low crush follow up after force function, the character started making sense and everything fell into place.
Yeah, I think I didn't see it that much in the beta, but I think it's like IC 2C, 6C, and ICJC all get armor when you IC them. I think that's gonna be pretty strong. Gonna be like Type Lumina.
Probably like Enkidu, we're not really gonna see the full potential of the character until there's like a lot of work put into matchups, so we can see like matchup specific tech. But I'm looking forward to seeing that once he's more developed.
Yeah.
I'm also looking. I mean, I'm to speak about the other new character. I'm also curious what happens with Kaguya because she has several tools like Grenade Oki in the corner that look ridiculously good, but I'm just curious like how practical it's going to be able to set that stuff up. You know, like if it ends up being really practical for her to get those situations, then she could be quite strong. But I don't know.
I actually saw something cool about Kaguya is for some reason her 6/6C has grid steal properties.
Yeah, it steals like a whole block too.
Yeah.
We were like, that's gotta be a bug. Like, surely that's a bug.
Yeah.
She does not need that.
Even mid combo, it still steals some grid. I don't know if it's a full block in grid in a combo, but at least half a block. Which I think is cool. I think that's cool. I think Kaguya 6/6C is like one of the coolest moves in the whole game. I almost want to play Kaguya just so I can use Kaguya 6/6C.
Yeah, that is pretty sick.
I kind of like that it's like you can't cancel it into literally anything, but it's plus on block and hits the whole screen. I think it's cool.
That's a what's the term I want to use? Is it a F moon type of move?
Yeah.
Plus on block.
It's like it's the bull.
I am curious how her combo routing is going to be, and if she's going to have like strong grenade setups. She can combo off her throw in the corner, which is already great for any character.
The thing is, like, if her corner carry is like really bad, or it's only good if you totally lose a setup, then I think she'll have kind of a she'll be at that point in a similar situation to Batista, where it's like the corner is awesome to get, but you're like never there. You know, like, so if we can see some really strong corner carry routing into Grenade Oki, then I think she's looking great. But if she only gets that Grenade Oki mid-screen, like as a quote-unquote gimmick, like, that'll be a little rough, you know. So I'm curious to see how she develops.
Yeah, I think Kaguya is a character that definitely just needs more time put in, which makes me really happy. I like characters like that. I think they're cool. Also, she has like a whiff cancelable normal, which is good. Her 5BB, I think, is what it was.
I would say it's cool. Whether or not it's good is, you know.
Yeah, I don't remember how big it is.
Opinion, but
I don't remember how big it is, so I need to look at that again.
I remember seeing a lot of instances of it getting whiff punished and being like, and everyone was like, "This is a gun character? Like, where's the disjoint?" You know.
I remember getting caught by her 2C randomly quite a bit, but maybe that was just a skill issue.
Yeah, it's the Guile sweep. That's exactly what it is.
Also, her 2B is like a weird. When I was messing around with her, I could not figure out how to use 2B because it's at like a weird angle. It's like the one where she's like diagonal upward shooting.
Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't seem like it functions as an anti-air because you just press 4B instead, but it also doesn't hit confirm all that well because it shoots up and forward. It is a bit of a weird move.
Yeah.
I think that character in Tsurugi, I think they're both well-designed characters in that they definitely will take a long time to figure out how to play them optimally, which is very encouraging. I'm happy that first two characters that have come out so far were not anywhere nearly able to be solved in the weekend that we had to play them. They're a
Yeah,
lot more
Yeah.
I
depth.
mean that's a good point. I definitely agree.
They seem like unique characters, which makes me really happy. I said that in the last podcast too. I was like, I love unique character design because it's like really detailed about how they can interact with like the system mechanics and things like that. So, and it lets characters do a lot of cool things without feeling like they're completely broken.
Mhm.
And I think Rugi and Kaguya are good examples of that, at least from our limited time with them.
Don't worry, Kuon will be nice and broken, and
Yeah, he's gonna be broken.
Yeah, he'll be the BlazBlue character.
Oh my god. Carmine power corrupt once again.
He's actually just gonna have like Byakuya 2B. He's gonna have Carmine Wheel and then like Hyde Orbiter, and then
Oh yeah.
he's just
Masoma's
gonna be-
rubbing his hands in the corner.
yeah. But I think we're getting towards the end of our little chat here. Does anyone have anything else they want to comment on?
game looks super fun. It's like it's surreal that like I look back on this wish list of like this is totally improbable. It'll never happen. But like here's here are some things that would be really cool next version. And then like almost every single thing that I wanted to have in a next version of Uni came to pass. So like I am eating so good. Like don't ask me, dude. I will like rant all day about how happy I am. Like anything negative I have to say actually is just like it's just specs. It doesn't like. Do I actually care? Not really. I was asked to have an opinion about thing. my true gut opinion is this game is like incredible and awesome, and I'm like so stoked. So
Yeah, I had so much fun with the beta. I like normally like I play a Uni for a couple hours and then like I'm kind of like okay, I got my fill in and I'm good now. But the beta I just like I couldn't put it down. I was like this is way too fun.
Yeah, it was kind of unhealthy how much I was playing it. Like I was up till like 4 a.m. on Saturday just
wasn't
playing games.
Defiant streaming it for like 12 hours straight? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I took a nap and I woke up and Defiant was still playing against Mr. Password Resetter. They were playing like a 5-hour set.
Yeah, I think Defi hit like it was like 750 games or something like that in the beta.
Oh my goodness.
It was
Sounds
a
super
crazy
young.
number. I hit like around like a little bit over 300, I think, is where I ended up. I also spent like 5 hours in training mode on one of the days though, just trying to find new optimal routes.
yeah, I honestly, if I could go back and do the beta again, I would have spent more time online because my experience was pretty much just some sets offline and training mode. But I still had a ball.
Yeah, it was a good time for sure.
Yeah, hopefully the game will last even longer due to all these positive changes like the rollback implementation and you know
If
every
if quote unquote all we get is the beta but on release, like I will be really happy. Like
Yeah.
So I hope don't mess with it too much. But
Yeah, I want more time to play on that version of the game. But does anyone
Yeah.
have anything they want to, just anything they want to shout out or anything else they want to add in before we finish up?
Yeah.
Dear Kimone, please add a Wi-Fi indicator.
that's a
Bless
good one.
you. Thank you.
Please bring 1AD back, Kimone, please.
Please bring 180 back. My career.
Yeah,
is
make
ruined,
1D
please.
AD a more intuitive input. Make that like more accessible, please.
Or that.
Yeah, I need my
work.
one dad.
Aren't you just getting green shield though when you do that?
Yeah, so that's one of the downsides to it is
Yeah.
if you go for it in Blockstone, you get blown up for it pretty easily. So it would be more relegated to those situations where it's your opponent's movement versus yours.
Mhm.
So it'll have a little niche. It'll still be pretty bad at what it did before, but it won't be useless, you know?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, if no one else has anything to add, thank you guys for joining me. This was a lot of fun. Beta was a good time. We all enjoyed it. You guys could tell. And yeah, I don't know what to say.
It's been
Thank you.
real, guys. Thanks for talking
Yeah.
with this. I enjoyed hanging out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys. See you in January.
Oh
online.
yeah.
Probably, yeah.